sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Even though quarterback Russell Wilson doesn't officially become a free agent until after his release, once the new league year starts next Wednesday, Denver has given him permission to begin speaking and meeting with other teams in their home cities, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Wilson's role at his next stop will be very different. ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick.
He's a stopgap starter is what he is right now. Look, he's a mid-level starter. Could he be a top half thrower in terms of QBR, completion percentage above expectation, passer rating? Yeah, he could be a top half, meaning 16 or higher. Yeah, I think he could be. Is he going to still be that guy who is going to be a consistent top 10 thrower in all advanced metrics? No, he's not going to be.
As the Bills make moves to get under this salary cap, they are releasing a key member of their defense, captain, safety Jordan Poyer. He and safety Micah Hyde, mainstays in Buffalo's secondary since signing there in 2017, started 93 games together in that span. Hyde set to become a free agent next week. He is considering retirement. Commanders reached a one-year deal with Zach Ertz, filling a need at tight end.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy. Coming up Thursday, I'll tell you the one free agent that your team should sign if they want to be serious Super Bowl contenders. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Oh, by the way, it's Hump Day. Yep.
It's Hump Day.
Busy day today.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Less than 3 hours away from tip-off. LSU and Arkansas.
Hump Day.
Less than 3 hours away from first pitch, LSU and Southeastern.
It's Hump Day.
Wes Moore is here in an hour.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Bells did work last night.
Hump Day.
AD Antonio Daniels in hour 3.
It's Hump Day.
Oh, by the way,
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
there's a new sauce over at Pluckers.
Hump Day.
Breggie's Creole Crush.
It's Hump Day.
How about it?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Alex Bregman
Hump Day.
got his own wing sauce
It's Hump Day.
at Pluckers.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Can't purchase the bottle, though.
Hump Day.
I love that.
It's Hump Day.
Breggie's got all of his own barbecue sauces. He's got the salsa. Got all his stuff.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Now he's got a wing sauce.
Hump Day.
Have you tried it?
No.
It's Hump Day.
I might DoorDash some to the studio.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Try it live on air.
I like the idea.
Yeah, I like it too.
Hump Day.
You know what? Hey, Stevie Levy, King of the Wings, send some wings over.
It's Hump Day.
I want them. Try them right here live on the air.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
All right, let's get going. We got a lot to do today. We will talk some Saints as they start gearing up toward the start of the league year. Some more reaction from Mason Smith's Pro Day. A lot to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
So a 6 o'clock tip for LSU basketball at Arkansas and 6 o'clock first pitch for LSU baseball at Southeastern. A little surprised. This one opened up LSU and Arkansas with the Hogs a 3.5-point favorite. It's swelled a bit to 4.5 now. I can't say that I'm terribly surprised that Arkansas would be a home favorite. For what it's worth, in the history of this series, LSU all time has only won 8 games at Bud Walton Arena. LSU is 8-23 at Bud Walton Arena. So this is one of those places where, kind of like Coleman Coliseum, although the LSU and Arkansas basketball rivalry much younger than the LSU-Alabama rivalry, as Arkansas has only been in the league since '92. But it's a place where it's one of those things. Like here's the difference with the Coleman Coliseum and the Bud Walton Arena comparison. Alabama hasn't had an historically great basketball program. That's the conundrum, right? Like I can look at teams that don't have a great record in a certain venue and say, oh, well, that makes sense because that team is really good. It has less to do with the venue and more to do with that program being historically good. Like for a lot of years, LSU didn't win at Florida. Well, LSU went 20 years and beat Florida one time in football. So you could say, man, LSU really struggles at Ben Hill Griffin. Not lately. They win every time they go there. But in the 90s and 2000s, it was a real struggle to win there because Florida had great teams under Steve Spurrier. I get it with Arkansas. I mean, when Nolan Richardson was there, 40 Minutes of Hell, they won the 94 national championship. Like, Arkansas has had a really good basketball program for a really long time. That's a place that seats 20,000. It's the biggest arena in the league. It's a tough place to play because it's a really good team. The Coleman Coliseum thing doesn't make sense because Bama just isn't a great historical basketball program. They've had moments. Like, they're good right now under Nate Oates. You know, they've had times in their history where they've popped a little bit, but by and large, that's not a great basketball program, so it's perplexing that LSU has really struggled to win at Coleman Coliseum over the years in Tuscaloosa. This is one where you look and go, LSU's 8-23 all-time at Bud Walton Arena. It makes sense because Arkansas is just a better, more consistent basketball program than LSU has been. But this one's easy, man. Khalif Battle averages 17 a game. He had 34 against Kentucky on Saturday. And I think this is one of those games where I'll be very curious to get Jimmy's take on this later to get kind of a handicapper's perspective. This feels like, and we've talked so much in college basketball this year about the fading the court stormers, right? So whenever you have that big win, you know, the team stormed the court, you go against that team the next game. Look at the most recent example with LSU. LSU beat Kentucky in Baton Rouge. The next game, they're home against Mississippi State. That Saturday got blasted. You fade the court stormer. Well, the difference here is Arkansas didn't win. They went to Rupp in Lexington and emptied the tank, and they scored 102 points on Kentucky and lost 111-102. So now, if you're LSU, you go up to Bud Walton Arena, and you're playing a team that feels like, man, what do you really have left? They're 5-11 in conference. They're 14-15 overall. Arkansas is not going to play in the postseason. So, what kind of effort do you get from Arkansas tonight if you're LSU? And this is on the flip side, as Matt McMahon talked about on his radio show, is an LSU team that is very much playing for the possibility of being in the postseason and playing for an NIT berth. This was Matt McMahon on his radio show. It's all right. Don't worry about it. So LSU, it's okay. We know what he inherited, right? We know what Matt McMahon inherited when he came to LSU and where he's brought the program not just year to year, but also in this year. When you look at where this team was in November, December, losing at home to Nichols, losing to Texas and Kansas State and Dayton, like Syracuse. Yes, like this is a team that over the last 8 weeks has grown up tremendously. And a lot of that is development of young guys like Tyrell Ward. And it's really gives you reason for optimism for the future, but you'd love to see them take that step And if they go win this game at Bud Walton Arena today, that's massive for LSU. It's because you'll finish up the regular season at home against Missouri, and you're guaranteeing yourself no worse than a 500 finish in conference play. And if you do that, you're going to be in the postseason in the NIT, especially with an expanded field. So LSU is playing for something tonight. Arkansas feels very much like they are not. Like they are just playing out the string. How much do they have left in the tank? It's a big question. We'll talk to Wess more at the start of hour number 2. Covered Arkansas for a long time, does radio and TV up in Little Rock, and has been a good friend of the show. So we'll look forward to having Wess here to kind of get a finger on the pulse of what you might expect from this Arkansas team tonight in this game. What more do they have to play for? So we'll get to that coming up an hour from right now. All right, it's After Further Review. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy in Louisiana with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of the national champ baseball team, the national champ women's basketball team. If you're going to be watching either the baseball or the basketball game tonight, or both, make sure you have plenty of ice-cold Bud Light. Cheers to the champs with Bud Light, the official beer of the Tigers and the official beer of AFR. Bud Light, drink easy in Louisiana with a great taste of Bud Light. Okay, it's After Further Review. Baseball Tigers tonight are at Southeastern. We'll talk a little more about the game. My understanding, I don't know if Southeastern is officially named a starting pitcher yet, but Dalton Asfalm out of Central is who is expected to get the ball. He's been their closer, but he's expected to start tonight. 92 to 96. Slider is on when he's good, but he's inconsistent, so we'll see how that goes tonight. But Southeastern, this is one of those games for the Lions that you kind of need to win. It's a resume builder, right? This is one where we talk about often if you're LSU, the midweek win isn't as significant as just the opportunity to go play because you'll have plenty of RPI opportunities throughout conference play. It's the conversation we have every year about this time with midweek games. But if you're Southeastern, this is a game where you kind of need to go for broke and need to go try to win this ball game as a resume builder. So that's a 6 o'clock first pitch. By the way, if you're in Baton Rouge, because there's always confusion when both are playing at the same time and where the games can be found, just remember, primary sports season is always going to be on Eagle. So if you're in Baton Rouge, I know a lot of people listening are outside of the Baton Rouge area but are watching. Basketball tonight on Eagle 98.1. The baseball game will be on 100.7 the Tigers. So if you're looking for basketball and baseball on the radio tonight, that's where they'll be. Okay, it's After Further Review. Let me knock out the first break of the show. We'll come back. The Saints are starting their pre-draft visits. Remember, each team is allotted 30 visits with potential prospects. So the Saints are starting. We're starting to get some of the names that they're going to be bringing in for workouts and for visits. And one of them is really intriguing because it's a teammate of a current Saint and former Saint draft pick. We'll talk about that next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Glow Resources, GLO, glowresources.com. Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. Keep reminding you to get by Glow Resources. Follow them on social media because Glow Resources is giving away $1,000 a month, cash, $1,000 a month to their most engaged social media followers. So go follow Glow Resources on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and everywhere. It's GLO, glowresources.com. Glow Resources, they are complete employer solutions. Remember, at Glow, Glow Resources works for you, the business owner. They do not fancy themselves as a temporary staffing agency. That's not what they do. They want to find permanent employment solutions for you, the business owner. Especially post-COVID, as hard as it's been to find qualified, competent people that want to work, let Glow Resources cut through all that rigmarole and help you. GLO, glowresources.com. Baton Rouge and all over the country, glowresources.com.
Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bighorn trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Pro Day in the rearview mirror. The next benchmark for the NFL, of course, be next week, the start of the league year, and then, of course, it'll be the NFL draft. So with Pro Day in the rearview mirror, not Pro Day, the Combine, forgive me. Pro Days are coming up, and then obviously the NFL draft. With the draft on the horizon and with the Combine behind us now, the NFL teams are starting to focus their attention toward not only free agency in the start of the league year, but also the draft. And for players that weren't at the Combine, this is an opportunity for teams to be able to get an up-close and personal view and look and meeting with some of the prospects in the draft. And there's an interesting one that the Saints have already scheduled, according to Tom Pelissero. And Tom Pelissero reported this on Tuesday night, that Northern Iowa defensive tackle Khristian Boyd, who he notes was a surprise omission from the Combine. He was not invited to the Combine. But he's got 7 pre-draft visits lined up so far, and one of them being with the New Orleans Saints. Pelissero notes that Boyd is 6'4", 317 pounds, and turned heads at the East-West Shrine Bowl, where he did work. You tweeted a video of some of the one of the wins, a couple of the wins that he had there in a goal line drill against Bull Rush and some of the offensive linemen. This one's really interesting for a couple of reasons, because of who he is, where he played, but also the position he plays. So just very quickly to kind of give you a little backstory. So Khristian Boyd was Trevor Penning's teammate at Northern Iowa. So Penning, of course, was an offensive lineman at Northern Iowa, and Khristian Boyd was an interior defensive tackle. So maybe they didn't do a lot of reps against each other, with Boyd being an interior player and Penning playing offensive tackle there at Northern Iowa. But he's 6'2". He was listed at 6'2", 320. Pelissero listed him at 6'4", 317. That's a pretty big disparity. 6'2", 320 and 6'4", 317. For whatever it is worth, I went back and looked up his 247 profile when he was a prospect coming out of high school, and they listed him 247 had him as 247 rated him as a 2-star. The composite had him as a 3-star, and they listed him coming out of high school again as a high school prospect at 6'4", 305. So I think the 6'4" is more legit, but maybe not. Like, again, the notation is that at the Shrine Bowl, he was 6'2", so he didn't go to the Combine. Every team will get their own designation, but take it for whatever it's worth. There's a discrepancy there. What's the actual height, weight, whatever? And maybe that's an indicator that, again, teams lie on their bios. If the Shrine Bowl, they go measure him barefoot, he's 6'2", and every listing that that had him in Northern Iowa or wherever had him at 6'4", whatever he is. The bottom line is Boyd was a disruptive interior player, but he played a long time, and this might be the knock. He signed with Northern Iowa back in 2018, and he had some other offers. He had interest from Arkansas State, had interest from Kansas, Central Florida, Missouri State. So he ended up in the FCS at Northern Iowa. But he had FBS offers and at least one Power 5 interested school there from Kansas. Remember, Central Florida wasn't in the Big 12 yet. They were a group of 5 school at the time. But this is an example of a player that stayed 6 years in college football. So that's a little bit of the knock now. You're talking about a guy that's going to be 23, 24 years old coming into the NFL, but was a disruptive player at the FCS level. Over his career, 22.5 TFLs, 89 quarterback hurries. He had 10.5 sacks from the interior. So it's a blow up the launch pad type player who at 6'2", 320, call it, can eat up space and move the pocket a little bit. And you saw this progression. So he goes to Northern Iowa in 2018 in red shirts, plays in 10 games as a redshirt freshman in 2019. 2020 was the COVID year, and if you remember, the FCS played a spring 2021 and then a fall 2021. So he played in both of those. And then in 2022 was second-team all-conference, came back for a 6th season, and became first-team all-conference and a third-team FCS All-American. So he continued to improve throughout his career, redshirted initially, played through the COVID year, took advantage of the extra COVID year, and ended up having 6 years there at Northern Iowa. My biggest question, though, and I'll talk about what this could mean for the Saints positionally, but my biggest question with a player like Khristian Boyd is, why not go the route that a guy like Braden Fisk did? Braden Fisk was a really good player in the group of 5 at Western Michigan. Took advantage of the COVID year, played his final season at Florida State, blew up there, and now looks like he's probably going to be a day 2 NFL draft pick. Made himself a lot of money, right? Going to show he could do it in the Power 5. Why didn't Khristian Boyd do the same thing? You had the extra year. Why not try to jump up a level in competition to show you could do it? Again, that's a question maybe he answers again with teams that he visits pre-draft. Don't know. A lot of circumstances can be involved in everybody's certain situation. But that's one question that if I'm the Saints or any NFL team that I have to ask. Specifically for the Saints, when you look at this position, your interior defensive line, I don't think this is a spot where you're looking in round 1. Remember, last year in free agency, the Saints added Colin Saunders and Nathan Shepard. Remember, they lost their entire interior defensive line. David Onyemata went to Atlanta, and you lost all of your depth. So they went and signed Saunders and Shepard, and they drafted Brian Brzee. Now, the rotational guy the Saints had a year ago was Malcolm Roach. They signed him to a 1-year deal. He's now a free agent. Saints could re-sign Malcolm Roach, but right now you only got 3 guys under contract with Brzee, Saunders, and Shepard. That's it. So you probably do need reinforcement at that spot. So a guy like Khristian Boyd, day 3 in the draft or as an undrafted free agent, could make a lot of sense in the same way that Malcolm Roach did. Malcolm Roach is from Baton Rouge, had a nice career at Texas, was an undrafted player. The Saints signed him as an undrafted free agent. He made the team and has been a good rotational piece on the interior. Maybe that's the role they foresee here. I don't know that I see a path, though, for the Saints to draft an interior defensive lineman in day 1 or day 2. Because you have so many more glaring needs for starting caliber players, which is what you hope you get in rounds 1 and 2. Maybe not in round 3, although the Saints have found success there. I mean, Kamara was a round 3 pick. Trey Hendrickson was a round 3 pick. And maybe you find someone with a much higher grade that you have that falls into day 2 into round 3. And so it becomes more of a fit. But it was an interesting one because clearly this is a player that they became familiar with in scouting Trevor Penning, right? When you're watching Trevor Penning on film, you're going to see his teammate as well. So it's a player clearly the Saints are familiar with and did well in the East-West Shrine game, and now they've circled back to that he's in the draft. Where might the Saints be looking to pull the trigger? But I look at it and I go, man, if you end up on day 3 and you're looking for an interior defensive lineman, remember the Saints don't have 3rd or 4th round picks, but they got 4 5th rounders. So you got a 1, a 2, and you don't draft again until round 5, and you got 4 of those. And just knowing, I mean, you know where I'm going with this, right? Just knowing the Saints' approach, they're going to get aggressive. Like there is just, I mean, I would bet everything I own that the Saints draft again somewhere after they make their 2nd round pick. They will not wait until round 5. The Saints will absolutely get aggressive and move up and take someone in round 3 or 4. There is just no chance they sit and make 4 picks in round 5. It's just not the thing they do. So they will move up. But if you're on day 3 and you're going to move up to get a player you want in round 4, let's say, or you move up into round 3, why wouldn't you look at a guy with a higher ceiling like a Mason Smith? And obviously we're all familiar with Mason Smith here, but it doesn't have to be Mason Smith, but a guy like that who you feel has a higher ceiling, who's maybe sitting there, later in round 3, later in day 2 or early in day 3, instead of a guy that's going to be a late round pick or an undrafted free agent. Maybe it comes down to where this is an undrafted free agent, you're doing your due diligence. But the Saints need they need a 4th interior defensive lineman. You need someone to be part of that rotation. And maybe the answer is re-signing Malcolm Roach. Or maybe the answer is a guy like Khristian Boyd. But this is why you take the time, you do your visits, you do your due diligence with a player, and especially a player that didn't have a combine invite, so here's a chance to get to know him. So Trevor Penning's old teammate, Khristian Boyd, interior defensive lineman from northern Iowa, we'll call him 6'2", since that's what they had him at the Shrine Bowl, 6'2", 320, disruptive interior player, potentially a guy the Saints could be looking at as they're bringing him in. As we start to learn more and more of the guys that the Saints are having these conversations with, their visits with before the draft, we'll certainly let you know. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're here. We're brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Love telling you about Shawbills because I love telling you about the Charlie's Dozen. At Shawbills, yes, they'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices. And that's probably the thing that for most people is going to be most important, right? But over the life of the time you own your vehicle and you need service, eventually you are going to need to bring your vehicle in for service. Well, at Shawbills, they offer you the Charlie's Dozen. It's a dozen benefits extended to your vehicle and every member of your family when you do business with Shawbills. Shawbills also has what they call their Customer Bill of Rights. If you go to the About Us section on their website, you'll see it right there. It's things that they feel like you as their customer are entitled to. Their responsiveness and respect. The right to be sold only what you need. How much of a concern is that for people when you go bring your vehicle in, when you don't know what's under your hood? Do I really need the thing they're trying to sell me, or are they just trying to upsell me? Shawbills will never do that. They treat you like family. The right to professionals working for you, the right to know the status of your work, a comfortable place to wait. I tell you all the time, I get a lot of work done when I go to Shawbills. They have comfortable furniture, free Wi-Fi, clean kitchenette area with free coffee in the Keurig, clean bathrooms. It's actually, I get work done when I go to Shawbills. It's Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling. Okay. Taylor Calandro, in about 15 minutes, we'll do some Bourbon Dictionary. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. By the way, there's a big change coming to the signing, the early signing period. It turns out Brian Kelly and company will not have to wait quite as long as we thought to get Bryce Underwood in this number 1 ranked 2025 class officially inked. We'll tell you about that when we come back. We're heading to Fayetteville in about 32 minutes from right now. Our buddy Wes Moore, who does our radio and television in Little Rock, will join us to give us a preview of the Hogs. Antonio Daniels, Pels, wiped the floor with the Raptors last night. Or should I say the Skeletons wiped the floor with the Raptors last night. AD will join us coming up in hour 3. Ton to do. Glad you're here. It's AFR.
AFR.
Okay, y'all, if you are kind of thinking, is it time yet to dip my toe into the boiled crawfish waters yet this season? The answer is yes. And you got to do it over at Rouse's. Remember, Rouse's at every one of their locations has in-house boiling rooms. So the crawfish that you get at Rouse's are not boiled somewhere else and brought in. They have in-house boiling rooms at all of their Rouse's locations. So when you go buy crawfish, boiled crawfish at Rouse's, you are buying crawfish that was boiled in-house that day, every day. They also have live crawfish available as well. So if you're having your crawfish boil, make sure you trust Rouse's. Rouse's, they are the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. If you're having that crawfish boil or you just need to make groceries, Rouse's, of course, is the absolute best with 69 locations from Lake Charles all the way to Orange Beach, Alabama, points in between, newest location in Lafayette, and, of course, on Florida Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Rouse's, this feels like home.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared toward seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial properties. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Pete Thamel was the first to have this, that the NCAA is changing the early signing period. It was actually voted on, had to be voted on by the conference commissioners. So it's the CCA, the Conference Commissioners Association, are the ones that ultimately had to vote on it. But they're changing the early signing period to early December. So the way it had been right now was after, sort of late December, right? Mid-late December was after the conference championship games. Well, Thamel noted that they're moving it back to early December before the December transfer portal window opens. That's the key designation. So the new signing period, the 3-day December signing period, will start on December the 4th. So that'll take place, which allows teams the obvious. I would say this is a catch-22. There's equal part a pro and a con to this. The great part is that this now will come before the signing day comes before the transfer portal window. The tough part about the portal window coming after signing day is you didn't quite know what your roster was going to look like, right? Positions of need, how many spots you'd have, et cetera. Well, now with the signing day coming before the portal window, you get all of this hay in the barn before the transfer portal window happens. So then when you're looking toward February, you already know you have a much better sense of your roster. That's one. The flip side of it is with the signing period happening now on December the 4th, that's the week of the conference championships. So it's an inherent disadvantage for teams that are playing in conference championship games. Now, in the week that they're preparing for a conference championship game, they're also trying to finalize their signing class through Wednesday of that week, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with the 3-day signing period. So overall, my feeling is this is a great thing. The more transparency there is in the recruiting process between the teams and the athletes, the better for both of them. It's why I've always been in favor of an early signing period. Yes, I understand that it does convolute things a bit for the team while you're in the midst of your season. However, I don't care. I would much rather both the player and the coaching staff have to lay their cards on the table in December and not wait till February. I've given you the example so many times, but there's guys like Tevin Lawson is one that I always bring up. Tevin Lawson was a guy from Denham Springs who was a defensive lineman who was the first commitment of LSU's signing class in his year. The first commitment. And he was committed all the way up until signing day. And right there, right before signing day, LSU had to tell him, hey, that's when you had a hard cap of 25. Hey, we don't have a spot for you. And so that kid was screwed because he had shut down his recruiting process. I think he maybe ended up at TCU. The flip side of it also is when things go the other way. Tosh Davis was a guy from North Louisiana, a linebacker that was committed to LSU throughout the process, and on signing day, flipped to Texas. Well, LSU thought they had this kid in as part of their class, and then on signing day, they learned, no, he's going to Texas. Well, with a December signing period, it forces both the athlete to say, hey, look, are you going to sign with this school? Look at Dominic McKinley. Great example, right? Dominic McKinley had been committed to A&M, could have signed in December, said, I'm not going to do that. I'll wait and see what my options are. Well, it let A&M know, hey, you better go either continue recruiting this kid, reassess, as opposed to having to wait till February and then learning then that you don't have that kid in your class. So I think it's both, but similarly, it makes the school commit to the player. So if you don't let that kid sign in December, he knows where he stands. So I like it. You want to go earlier than that too because it continues to allow you to assess your roster. I'm good with that. The inconveniences for the handful of teams that are going to be playing in conference championship games. But again, the early signing period moves up to December the 4th starting this year. Okay, it's after further review. I shouldn't say up to December 4th. To the first week, the first Wednesday of December. It just happens to be December 4th this year. All right, we're brought to you by our friends over at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows, and ReliefWindows.com. If you need energy-efficient replacement windows, you want to beautify the exterior of your home, making your home more energy efficient in time, this is an investment in your home that's going to pay for itself because it's going to lower your energy bills, and over time, that investment will pay for itself, and also it'll increase your home's resale value. So when you go to sell your home, of course, you will get credit on the value of your home when you install these energy efficient replacement windows. And the best thing about Relief Windows, of course, I always tell you it's the customer service, and that's true, but also a lifetime transferable warranty. I would challenge you. I would challenge you that if you're shopping around and you're looking for windows or doors or siding, whatever, ask that company, do they offer a lifetime transferable warranty? Ask them. You're probably going to get a lot of snickers and laughs from every other company because Relief Windows is the only company that will offer you a lifetime transferable warranty on labor, material, and glass breakage. Meaning you live in that home for 20 years, your grandkid who isn't even born now fires a baseball through your window, Relief Windows will come replace it for free. It's Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Oh, yeah, they do indoor shutters as well. Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference, the Ole Miss Rebels.
How about this flex from Lane Kiffin? He hired Zach Arnett to his staff. So Lane Kiffin has hired former Mississippi State defensive coordinator and head coach Zach Arnett to his staff. He'll be an analyst this year at Ole Miss. He'd been at Mississippi State since 2020 when Mike Leach hired him. Then he was the head coach after Mike Leach tragically passed for just one season. Also there in Oxford, Corey Dennis is leaving the Ole Miss staff for an on-field coaching role with Tulsa. Corey Dennis is Urban Meyer's son-in-law. So he was an analyst at Ole Miss. He'll now be the quarterback's coach and passing game coordinator at Tulsa.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
After previously announcing he was no longer with the team, former Mississippi State Bulldogs guard Andrew Taylor has entered the transfer portal. Taylor had not been part of the program since January. Of course, Zach Arnett was fired. Basketball guard, Chris Jans announced he was no longer part of the program. So in the offseason, spent the first 4 years of his career with Marshall, transferred to Mississippi State. He's back in the fold.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas offensive lineman Andrew Chambly no longer with the football team as well. Redshirt offensive lineman has entered the transfer portal. He'll continue his time. He will not enter the portal. He will finish his time as a student at Arkansas. He's 19 years old, but will not continue his football career. Was a four-star prospect coming out of high school, but will stay enrolled at Arkansas, but will not play football. Also on staff, Arkansas will promote former Assistant Director of Player Personnel Javon Hubbard to the Director of Player Personnel role moving forward.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And according to Matt Zennett's Wildcats are expected to hire Marshall coach Derek Shea. Shea will be joining, he's a tight ends coach. He'll be joining Kentucky as a senior analyst. Will reunite him with former Wildcats offensive coordinator Bush Hamden as well there. They worked together at Missouri in 2022. Before Missouri, Derek Shea, you might remember, did have a short stint at LSU. All right, real quick, just on the hardwood tonight, let me get you the schedule around the league here in the Southeastern Conference tonight. Of course, we know that LSU is going to play at Arkansas. Trying to get the page to load. My apologies. Tennessee, 4th-ranked Tennessee is at 17th-ranked South Carolina. That's on ESPN2. LSU, as we mentioned, at Arkansas. Vanderbilt visits Kentucky, and Texas A&M will host Mississippi State. All right, there you have it. That is around the SEC. Hey, remember, we had tons of rain yesterday. If you had roof issues, give us a shout. No web, just give us a shout. 364-1007, 364-1007. That's me, Terrio, Tilly, Joe Morales, Scott Barnes, all the guys that we've been telling you about. Just give us a shout. No web, just give us a call. 364-1007. If you had roof leaks, roof issues, you want us to come get up on the roof, send an inspector, meet with your insurance adjuster, handle the whole process from start to finish to get you that roof repair or roof replacement. We'd love to help. 364-1007, 364-1007. Give us a shout. We'll ring our office, ring cell phones as well, so you're going to get a human being. If you have roof issues, you can trust us, 364-1007. All right, it's after further review. We'll do a little Bourbon Dictionary with Taylor Calandro when we come back. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
the best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs, even in the case of an after-hours emergency. The light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
They're the gang with the slang. This is Bourbon Dictionary with Matt Moscona and Taylor Calandro.
All right, wrapping up hour number 1. Get your booze questions in. Email us, tweet us, text us in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Lots of ways you can get your questions in. If you got a booze question, get in for Taylor Calandro. Joins us now. How are you, dude?
Great. I just finished doing a tequila tasting, so I'm feeling nice.
Okay. What did you sip?
Fletcher Azul. I don't know if you're familiar with the brand.
I'm not. Fletch, F-L-E-T-C-H?
F-L-E-C-H-A, Fletcher Azul.
Okay.
It's a brand. It's Mark Wahlberg and Abraham Answer, the live golfer, are big owners in that brand. Anyway, I tried 3 of their marks today: silver, the Reposado, and the and yeah, they were all fantastic. Their big thing is additive-free tequila, which there's no sugar added or flavoring or anything. Man, it was really, really good, and it's reasonably priced. We should be getting some next week. So
okay, I see this There's Mark Wahlberg at some. I looked on Twitter. There's Mark Wahlberg at some store. I don't know where, maybe in Vegas or something like that, with his bottle of Flecha Azul. Okay, never had it.
Really, really good stuff.
Any comp there, price wise or taste?
Price wise, it's going to be similar to like Casamigos or Patron, stuff like that. I mean, like a premium tequila in that range.
Sure.
And like I said, there's no additives, so it's just a really pure, good tequila. A little bit of spice, depending on what mark you had. Really nice barrel characteristics to Reposado and the Añejo. So cool. Good brand.
Look, I say it all the time. I love whiskey. Everybody knows that. I'm a giant whiskey guy. But when it gets to be the summer months, I don't drink whiskey anymore. It's 100 degrees outside. So when I'm by the pool or outside, it's always just tequila rocks with lime. I mean, that's just what I drink all summer. So that's great. I'll look forward to trying it. It'll be really good.
Yeah, man, and the tequila market's getting so good. Like with these tequilas without additives and stuff, these people are making really good tequila. It's exciting.
By the way, anything else new?
We got Parish Brain Cake in, which is a release they do every year. It's double IPA. It's really good if you haven't had it. And House Marg from Gnarly Barley in Hammond. Speaking of Hammond, LSU's playing there tonight. I don't know if you knew that.
Yep.
But anyway, the brewery there, House Marg, go check them out. It's a lime and tangerine goza, like a sour with a hint of salt. It's really good. I had one over the weekend. Good for warm weather for sure.
Hey, I wanted to ask one quick whiskey question for you, and then we'll get to questions. So I love the podcast, How I Built This. For those that have never listened to it, it's a podcast where basically the host, Guy Raz, interviews people who built big businesses or brands, and it's just their story, right? And I hadn't heard this, but they brought back an episode from 2021 this week, and it was with Fawn Weaver, who's the founder and CEO of Uncle Nearest. I've never tried Uncle Nearest. I feel like I've heard it before. But the story was kind of incredible. Have you tried Uncle Nearest? Because apparently it's a relatively new brand, but they're winning all kinds of awards and double gold everywhere and all that sort of stuff. What can you tell us about it?
It's fair. I mean, it's not really super new to us. We've probably had Uncle Nearest for 5 or 6 years. It's been a while since I've tried any of their marks at all.
Okay.
I do know it's black owned. Is that right?
Yeah. So that was the crazy story. Is apparently the man's name is Nearest Green, who was in the 1800s was a freed slave, so a former slave who worked as a master distiller and actually sort of taught Jack Daniel in Lynchburg. And
that's what I thought.
And so, like, his and Jack Daniel's Nearest's and Jack's relatives worked with Fawn Weaver to collaborate to honor him with a whiskey, and it's like they went and bought the farm where Nearest worked, and that's where they operate. It's an incredible story, but I've literally never tried the juice. I have no idea if it's any good. It wins all this stuff, but I never had it before.
We've got a couple of theirs. I can't remember which two we do have, and I think we just got a special release from them within the past couple of weeks too. I think it's a barrel proof. But like I said, we've been having it for 5 or 6 years. I'm just not super familiar with it. We just, although it does sell like crazy. I will say that it does steadily sell.
It's like, I mean, it was like 2017, 2018 they launched. But I mean, Taylor, like it's just, there's so many craft whiskey brands now. Like it's hard to cut through all of the noise around, what's real, what's sourced, what's good. So you just kind of stay in the lane of what you know. At least I do, anyway.
And honestly, I think that's where the consumer has kind of gone now. I mean, I think, this is just my personal opinion, that the market has gotten completely saturated with all these little craft brands, and they're starting to get weeded out, and people are kind of sticking to what they know. I've kind of seen that happening too.
All right, let's get to some questions here. Brandon said, ask Taylor, should I pick up 1792 barrel proof or small batch? Which is better?
Oh, he said barrel proof first, right?
Yes.
I love their barrel proof. It's fantastic. The small batch is fine, and it's under $40, I think, still. But the barrel proof is awesome.
Bottle. I need to circle back to their barrel proof because I didn't love it the first time I had it. But their bottled in bond was actually my favorite bottle that I found during COVID. I mean, when I drank whiskey every night during COVID, their bottled in bond is really good as well. Jamie Leday asked Taylor, "How do I know I'm paying a fair price for bourbon and not getting ripped off? Is there a place to see what fair market value is on bourbon?"
Fair market value. That's a great question. If you have to, if you see a bottle sitting on a shelf and you're unsure about the price, and there's a good chance it's probably too expensive if it's sitting there. However, you can use your phone to look.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's hard to get. I would go look at one of the review websites that has like the MSRP of the bottle of what it should be.
We got
those review guys will put like MSRP from the distillery or whatever.
30 seconds. Nathan Hodge for Taylor, best beer for a crawfish boil?
Try that House Mart from Gnarly Barley, man. I'm telling you, it goes great with crawfish. It's fantastic.
Christian Bourgeois, best beginner whiskey?
Basil or Elijah Craig.
He is Taylor Calandro. We appreciate it, man. We'll talk next week.
Thank you, man.
All right, man. Hour 2 coming up next.
AFR.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Bills released multiple veterans as they work to get under the salary cap. Safety Jordan Poyer, cornerback Trey White, and center Mitch Morse, among others. Today's cuts opened up about $37 million in cap space. The Commanders filled a need at tight end. They agreed on a one-year deal with veteran Zach Ertz. The Broncos have given soon-to-be-released quarterback Russell Wilson permission to immediately begin speaking and meeting with other teams in their home cities, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. Wilson will be cut after the new league year starts next Wednesday, and the timing of his free agency a bit of a problem for him, explains Unsportsmanlike co-host Chris Canty.
At this point, all of these other teams have bigger fish that they're trying to fry. There are other quarterbacks that they believe are better options that they're going after. Now, they're not going to all land the quarterback that's at the top of their wish list. And so Russell Wilson then would become, I don't even want to say priority, but a more viable option at that stage of it. It's not going to happen fast for Russell Wilson.
Center Kaman Malawash, the top big man in the 2024 class, committed to Duke. He's from the NBA Academy in Africa in Senegal.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Canty. Coming up Thursday, I'll tell you the one free agent that your team should sign if they want to be serious Super Bowl contenders. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Busy night. LSU baseball in Hammond to take on Southeastern. Basketball Tigers are up in Fayetteville to take on the Razorbacks, who are having a down season, certainly by their standard with what Eric Musselman has done during his time in Fayetteville. Wes Moore, our buddy, a sports director at Fox 16, also heard on 103.7 The Buzz. Good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. Hey, Wes, how are you, man?
Man, I'm good. Really focusing on baseball season now. And spring football starts tomorrow. I was a little surprised y'all called and want to talk Arkansas basketball. I'm like, well, somebody wants to talk Arkansas basketball. Let's do it.
We might touch on a lot of different things here, but what is for a program that had made the Sweet 16 a regularity to have a season like this? Is there a real concern there, or is this just a speed bump?
I think it's a speed bump. It's shocking, honestly, because they went Elite Eight, Sweet 16 last year, and then it was a really good transfer portal class. And they had Trevin Brazile coming back, who was preseason All-SEC. And, they go out and they beat Purdue. And I know it's an exhibition game, but if you watched it, man, those two teams got after each other, and Arkansas beat them. And then they had Duke early in the season. They beat Duke. And I mean, the expectations were through the roof. It was like, man, this team's going to be really good because Eric Musselman, his MO is they get better throughout the year. And we're like, if they're already this good, how good are they going to be at the end of the year? And it just fell apart, Matt. I mean, it's so surprising. It's hard to watch. They don't play defense. They gave up 111 points to Kentucky. And that's what Musselman is all about. It's about defensive efficiency. And that's how he got to the Elite Eight twice in Sweet 16 last year. His teams played good defense, and then they ran the offense and scored. So they were efficient on both ends. And this year, it's defense is optional, and now he's just trying to outscore teams.
What happened?
Well, I think you can start with Trevin Brazile. I mean, all SEC team. They built the team around him. It's been a very disappointing season for him. And when the season started, he was in the mock draft in the lottery. Top 15, top 10 pick, and now he's maybe a second-round guy. and maybe a lot was placed on his shoulders for a guy that's coming off an ACL injury, and he just hasn't been the same aggressive Trevor Brazil that we've seen in the past, kind of floating around, looking to shoot threes, kind of avoiding the paint, not finishing as much. And when that's supposed to be your best player and he's not, then that hurts a lot. And then, Devo Davis, he missed some time, stepped away from the team, hasn't had the senior year that he wanted. Tremont Mark was a great find out of Houston. He leads the team in scoring, and you can count on him. He's been their most consistent player. But then other portal guys, like Caleb Battle. Caleb Battle scored more than 30 points the last 3 games.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Battle went through a stretch for about 4 games. He didn't even play because he got in the doghouse with Musselman, and he wouldn't play defense. He wouldn't help rotate over and, play team concept defense. And so he lost playing time. And he kind of figured it out. Now he's on the court, and all of a sudden he's scoring 30 points a game. And that's the guy we thought we were getting, an elite scorer. L. Ellis, another one of those transfers. He was going to be the point guard. He didn't play against LSU the last time. The last time LSU and Arkansas played, L. Ellis didn't play. Trevor Brazil didn't play. Caleb Battle played 8 minutes and did not score. Devo Davis didn't play. So LSU is going to see an entirely different team tonight. Now, LSU might still win. I'm not saying, that's going to change anything, but that just shows you how inconsistent the team has been this year and how inconsistent their minutes have been about who could be playing and who might not be playing.
Hogs are a 4.5-point favorite, and I shared this earlier, Wes. All time LSU's 8-23 at Bud Walton Arena, and a large part of that has to do with the fact that Arkansas is a really good, consistent program over a lot of years. Not a lot of teams go there and win consistently. But Arkansas is a 4.5-point favorite tonight. My question, my big sort of the big question I'm curious to see is, did Arkansas empty the tank against Kentucky on Saturday, and what do they have left? What's your feeling?
Well, I think it's the last home game at Bud Walton Arena. There are 7 seniors that are going to be honored after the game tonight. So I expect if the tank is empty, they're going to give everything they got against LSU. And look, LSU embarrassed them. They beat them by, 28, 25 down there in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, it was 95-74.
I don't think they've emptied the tank. And look, we have NIL deals with, we have L. Ellis on our show, Caleb Battles on the morning show. These guys still think they're a good team. And these guys still think they're going to go to the SEC tournament and show everybody what the preseason expectations were and make a run in the SEC tournament. So, I don't think they emptied the tank against Kentucky. I think it really kind of ticked them off how bad defensively they played.
And Wes Moore's our guest. They allow 80 a game. That's kind of been the norm, though, right? Is there any reason to think LSU won't go to Bud Walton Arena? Vandy scored 85 last week. Is there any reason to think that LSU won't go there and have offensive success? No, not at all. And that's what, so many of our listeners will call in and go, well, you like Arkansas or LSU tonight? And I'm like, I don't like either one. I never know what Arkansas is going to do. Stay away from that. If you want a bet, I think it's the over tonight because Arkansas doesn't play defense. LSU's capable of scoring, and Arkansas is playing better with Caleb Battle scoring 30 points a game. So I think it's a high-scoring game. Vanderbilt hadn't scored 80 points in a game all year, and they scored 85. Kentucky put up 111. It's happened game after game. It's just the defense has been that bad for Arkansas. Total is 154.5. Inquiring minds that may want to know. LSU and Arkansas tonight. It's a 6 o'clock tip, so we're less than 2 hours away. You expecting a full crowd?
Oh no. No. In the last home game, I had a buddy there, and he said, "Man, it was really disappointing to see the student section. The students aren't even going. They had 11,000 at Baum Walker Stadium the other day for a midweek game, and the weather was beautiful." And they packed the place, and I'm like, can they get 11,000 tonight at Bud Walton Arena?
So strange, man. I know everyone's going to say it, but it's just I don't think many people expected Arkansas to be where they are right now in this ballgame. It's LSU and Arkansas going in different directions, certainly as the season stands right now. Wes Moore is our guest, Fox 16 and 103.7 The Buzz there at Little Rock. Hey, while I got you, let me get a thought on spring football and baseball. Since you brought up baseball, I think everybody knows Hagen Smith, and we know Arkansas is a consensus top 5 team, one of the best in the country. Here with one more week to go before the start of conference play, what boxes would Dave Van Horn like to check? What questions does he still have before the start of conference play?
He's still figuring out his lineup, honestly. He knows who his 3 pitchers are. I mean, his 3 starters have been fantastic. Brady Tigert could be an ace on many SEC staffs. And Mason Molina, their Sunday starter, was the Texas Tech ace Friday night starter last year, and he's been awesome. He's averaging 10 strikeouts a game. It's just the lineup. He's trying to figure out who his most consistent hitters are, and he's got a problem kind of like LSU. They're deep. And so he plugs in a guy on a midweek game, and he gets 3 hits. He's got a freshman second baseman that, Matt, he's incredible. And he can't get on the field, and finally he got an opportunity on the midweek game, or on a weekend. And another couple missiles. And so it's like, but where do we put him? And then there's some guys that they were counting on that haven't been hitting. And so other guys are now getting that chance. I mean, we thought the center fielder was going to be Wilsmeyer, who started at Missouri last year and hit over 300 in the SEC. Well, he hasn't been hitting. And so they put in some freshmen, Lovich, and the kid hit 2 doubles yesterday and had 4 RBI, I believe, or 3. And so it's like, well, I guess I got to play him more. And so that's it. He's got to figure out who his outfielders, infield, who's going to be playing. He's got 4 catchers, and he keeps rotating them, and they all do well, but he doesn't have one. And sometimes when you don't have one, you don't have, you know what I'm saying? The old saying, like a quarterback, you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Yeah.
So I think he's just trying to find a consistency in the batting order right now.
Hey, Wes, before you go, is this Sam Pittman's last spring at Arkansas?
Ooh, well, if he has another bad year, it is. Yeah. Just the whole feel about the football program is not where it's been. The excitement is kind of missing. This year, Coach Pittman announced it yesterday. He's opening up spring practices for fans to come and watch. And one of the reasons why he wants to build that excitement and get people excited about the season. And also with the quarterback competition, he wants people in the stands to get a little pressure on these quarterbacks to see how they perform with people in the stands. You know, sometimes a quarterback, when you're not being rushed, you're just standing in the pocket, you know, the game can be a little easier. But all of a sudden, you put some people in the stands, and maybe that puts a little pressure on these guys. He can get a better feel of who needs to be the quarterback. But, yeah, to answer your question, he's got to make a bowl game. You got to see improvement out of the offense and the offensive line. That was the big disappointment last year. And Pittman said yesterday he thought it was weird. The NCAA had indicated they were going to allow another position, a paid position on football staffs, and he was planning on hiring an offensive assistant to his offensive line coach. A late ruling didn't allow him to make that hire, and so he doesn't have anybody. So Coach Pittman said yesterday he's doing it. He's acting as the offensive grad assistant to the offensive line coach, and he's sitting in all the meetings. And that got fans excited because we all know how good of an offensive line coach he was or is. People were begging for him to take over last year and to help with the offensive line because it was so bad. He needs a turnaround season and to be back next year.
Man, we'll look forward to hearing more when we get to SEC Media Days in July. Always appreciate a couple of minutes. Enjoy the game tonight, Wes. Thanks, man.
You bet. Thanks, Matt. Later.
Be well. That's Wes Morgan, Fox 16 in Little Rock, 103.7 The Buzz. Does a great job. Been a good friend of the show for a long time. Always appreciate a couple of minutes there with Wes. We're brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoni.com. If you are thinking about LASIK, if you are thinking about ditching the contacts and glasses forever, even if you live outside of Baton Rouge, trust me, you want the best. You're going to trust your eyes to the absolute best, the Williamson Eye Center. Nationally awarded Dr. Blake Williamson lectures all over the world, bringing new technologies and new procedures, innovations in ophthalmology to Baton Rouge and to Louisiana, to our region. It's the Williamson Eye Center. They've been in business more than 75 years. Call 924-2020, 924-2020. If you want to see 2020, ditch the contacts and glasses forever, no matter your age or refractive issue, do what I did. Call the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020 or williamsoni.com. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. Again, we're a little less than 2 hours away from first pitch, LSU and Southeastern, and tip-off LSU and Arkansas. Antonio Daniels will be here 1 hour from right now. Pels just blew the doors off of Toronto last night. We'll talk about it with AD. Looking forward to that. We got Pluckers Trivia next hour as well. Otter Locks, ton to do. When we come back, LSU spring football going on right now, and a report from 247 that LSU has added an assistant coach to the football team. We'll talk about that next on AFR.
AFR.
You know, if you live in Louisiana, you know that up and down the river, there are those dozens of plants, the petrochemical refinery markets, that means so much to our state's economy. Well, there are great contractors that do work in those plants that we all know. And Action Industries has been one of those contractors since 1982. Action Industries, 2 locations, at their Belrose location, and then Highway 30 in Geismar. Of course, a lot of people see Highway 38, which is, Nicholson as you're heading south. You go to Highway 30 there, in Geismar, you can see their office there. Listen, the differentiator for Action Industries is they're not looking for the $200 million job. There's some great, enormous industrial contractors, but Action, they say, we know what we're good at. If you have a 100-man job, that's their sweet spot, and you will be their most important customer. So if you're a maintenance manager, turnaround coordinator, you need to get to know Action Industries. That's Action Industries.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Pluckers Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Pluckers Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Well, with LSU having spring football underway, news came on Wednesday from Chris Hummer over at 247 Sports that LSU has hired Houston's Trey Holtz as an offensive analyst to work with the quarterbacks. If the last name sounds familiar, it should. Trey Holtz is the son of Skip Holtz and the grandson of Lou Holtz. A quick little thumbnail bio on Trey Holtz. So Trey Holtz was a preferred walk-on at the University of Texas and was there from 2012 through 2016. So he was there with the Longhorns. In his last 2 seasons in Austin, he played in every game as the holder on their special teams. And after that, Trey Holtz went to Ohio State as a graduate, as a grad assistant. And he was at Ohio State until 2019, so 17 to 19, at which point he left and joined his father at Louisiana Tech. He was on Skip Holtz's staff at Tech as the inside wide receivers coach in 2020 and 2021. Of course, that overlapped with Joe Sloan, who at that time was the offensive coordinator at Louisiana Tech. After Skip Holtz got fired, Trey Holtz spent 1 season at Charlotte in 2022, and then last season, and at Charlotte, he was the quality control assistant. Last season at Houston, he was an analyst who worked with the quarterbacks, and now he's leaving Houston, coming to LSU as an analyst working with the quarterbacks. So a couple of things. Obviously, you're talking about this family lineage, which is so hard to ignore, man. Like, when you're a kid whose grandfather is a Hall of Fame coach, your father spent his entire career as a college football coach as well, you grow up in it. Like, you grow up learning about recruiting and traveling and being away and the schedule and all of the things and the demands and rigors that go along with being a college coach. Like, you're born and bred into it. So to that extent, you have a guy that has immense knowledge and immense connections. Like, is there a hint of nepotism? Of course there is, but I don't care. Like, I don't care how you get your opportunity. What you do with the opportunity when you get it is what's most important. And this is a young guy, who has been in coaching since 2017 when he went to Ohio State. And you're talking about a guy who in that time has spent time at Ohio State under Urban Meyer, who was a grad assistant at Ohio State, was at Louisiana Tech as a receivers coach, has spent time at Charlotte and Houston, and now coming to LSU. And the other thing, too, I would say is, do you trust Joe Sloan? Because if you trust Joe Sloan and Joe Sloan's judgment, which I do, and Joe Sloan clearly is the one who vouched for Trey Holtz, then you would embrace this wholly. My feeling always on support staff, personnel, right, analysts, and the like, has always been consistent. If you can afford it and makes you 1% better, do it. That's a big differentiator between the haves and the have-nots. If you as a program can afford to hire Trey Holtz or 100 Trey Holtzes and it makes you 1% better, do it. Not every staff has the luxury to be able to do that. And for Trey Holtz, it's very clear. You were a G5, well, I guess Houston's now in the Big 12, but former G5 smaller school in the Big 12 analyst, and now you move up to LSU. You're going to be on the radar. The other thing that's very clear is a lot of major programs use their support staff as a pipeline to their on-field jobs. Look at John Jancic. Brian Kelly's first year here hired John Jancic as an analyst, and then after 1 year, John Jancic was on the field. Now, Jancic's no longer on the staff, but the same thing was true with Bob Diaco. Hired him as an analyst because of Jimmy Lindsey's injury or illness, I should say, and some of the staff shuffling. Of course, Bob Diaco got onto the field last year. Look at, obviously, I think you could look at this as an instance where if Cortez Hankton were to leave, of course, Cortez was promoted this year with Joe Sloan as co-OCs, but if Cortez becomes an OC and a primary play caller somewhere, could you see a situation where they elevate from within? This is something Nick Saban did. He would hoard quality assistant coaches as analysts and support staff members, And then when an on-field job came open, he had his pipeline. They just moved right through. So I like it. You can add competent support staff personnel. If Joe Sloan vouched for it, a guy that's going to work with quarterbacks, who played quarterback at Texas, the major college level, who's got great lineage in the game within college football, yes, I'm for it. So Trey Holtz joining LSU staff as an offensive analyst working with the quarterbacks. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here on a Hump Day edition of AFR. Of course, we're brought to you by Pluckers. Remember, I told you earlier in the show today that Pluckers has a new wing sauce. It's the Breggy wing sauce. So Alex Bregman has collaborated with Pluckers, and this was originally only available at the Houston area Pluckers. And our guy, Steve Levy, the king of the wing, over at Pluckers said, hey, why wouldn't we offer the Bregman-flavored wing sauce in Baton Rouge? And the Pluckers brass were like, you know what? That's a good idea. So you can get it now at both Pluckers locations in Baton Rouge as well. It's the Breggy's Creole Crush is the name of the wing sauce that you can get now at either Pluckers location, Nicholson just south of campus, or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Pluckers, you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird. All right, we got a lot to do. Let me do this real quickly while we're talking LSU football. There's a piece up at ESPN.com where it takes each of the college football way too early top 25 and looks at their season-defining game. I don't necessarily know that I care too much about a list like this. Tell you all the time I don't really care about lists. It's just an interesting conversation when you look at it. What struck me, though, is when they looked at LSU at their season-defining game, they listed it as the opener against USC. And I'm not sure that I could disagree more with that. I think we're all excited about it. It's two historic brands. You're playing in Vegas at an NFL stadium. Both teams are replacing Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. Both teams were atrocious defensively a year ago, replaced their defensive coordinator and defensive staff. So there's a lot of questions, right? LSU loses a ton of production. USC not only loses Caleb Williams, but Marshawn Lloyd and Brendan Rice and Taj Washington. I mean, they're very similar, the two teams going into 2024. But you can lose a non-conference opener and still make a 12-team playoff. So look back to the very first year of the 4-team playoff. Ohio State won the national championship in 2014. They lost at the beginning of the season at home to a Virginia Tech team that finished 6-6, still made the playoff, won the national championship. So, no, I don't think you can necessarily say that LSU's opener against USC is a season-defining game. The one for me that is the season-defining game is the Ole Miss game, because Ole Miss is coming to Baton Rouge 7-0. If you have not looked at Ole Miss's schedule before they get to Baton Rouge, Ole Miss opens up with Furman, Middle Tennessee, they're at Wake Forest, they host Georgia Southern, Kentucky, then they're at South Carolina before they visit LSU. So it'll be the second of back-to-back road conference games for the Rebels, and they will be 7-0 coming to Baton Rouge, and LSU's going to be coming off a bye. By that point, October the 12th, that's going to define your season. Because regardless of what happens against USC, that's the game that is going to tell you what you are. Because if you win that game at home, awesome, you also win a tiebreaker over Ole Miss potentially if that were to come into play, and it also gives you more margin. If you lose that game, you've left yourself really with no margin for error moving the rest of the way through your schedule, because if you lose again, hypothetically, say on your home field to Bama, now you're at 10-2, and you've lost a tiebreaker to both Ole Miss and Alabama. So the season-defining game for LSU, for me, is Ole Miss. I mean, if you're undefeated, hypothetically, if you're LSU, you beat Ole Miss, you're undefeated, and you lose to Alabama in Baton Rouge, okay, it sucks, but you can win out, go 11-1, and still make the playoff. So, for me, the answer is Ole Miss. And by the way, for ESPN at this piece up at ESPN.com, their answer for Ole Miss, as far as their season-defining game, is LSU. Because they are coming to You need to wrap your head around this, just like a couple of years ago. Ole Miss is coming to Baton Rouge undefeated. Ole Miss is coming to Baton Rouge 7-0, and they're going to be a top 5 team in the country. And that game day will be here, and it'll be a massive madhouse scene, and everybody's going to be talking about that game. And that's going to be the fulcrum game for both teams in 2024. Interestingly, for Alabama, they listed Alabama's season-defining game as their game against Georgia. Georgia visits Tuscaloosa September the 28th. How interesting is that going to be for Alabama, who opens up against Western Kentucky, South Florida, and then they're at Wisconsin, and then they get an open date, and then they host Georgia. So they'll have an extra week to prepare, but look, even if they go and win at Wisconsin, they're 3-0 going into their first open date. They host Georgia. If Kalen DeBoer gets walloped at home by Georgia, it's going to tell you everything you need to know about this version of Alabama football in 2024. Okay, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. Bill Belichick's future. We're starting to get some indication of what that's going to look like. Muse is going to have Tigers in the pros. A lot to do. It's AFR.
AFR.
Hey, y'all, the weather is getting warmer. We're approaching 80 to actually 82. It's 82 in Baton Rouge right now. 82 degrees in Baton Rouge right now. It's time where a lot of us are starting to crank up the AC again. If that's you, call River City's 1 Hour Air. Schedule that preseason AC tune-up. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Remember, mention the Moscona special, and they'll knock $25 off any system repair at River City's 1 Hour Air. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. Hey, look, the warm weather months are coming. Your AC is going to be running round the clock, 24/7, 365. It don't ever get a break. It's going to be outside in the heat and the rain and the humidity and the bugs and the dust and the dander and everything that happens in spring and summer in South Louisiana. Make sure it's clean, tuned up, and efficient for the summer months. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Well, disappointing news. I'm sure Muse will get to it in Tigers and the Pros, but the Bills have released Tre'Davious White, or will release Tre'Davious White. That's it's a bummer, but Trey White, great player. Unfortunate injury this past year, and really it was a Bills defense that was beset by injuries, not only Trey White but Matt Milano. And when you look at the contract for Trey, the dead cap number for Buffalo is 10-3. His cap hit would have been 16-4. So the Bills are going to save over $6 million against the cap this year by releasing Tre'Davious White. We'll certainly get into, for Trey, some of the potential landing spots. But Trey's a guy that a couple of months ago turned 29. Clearly at that position you could play into your 30s at cornerback. But at some point we do see corners move to safety. Charles Woodson did that. Pat Pete did that a little bit this year with Pittsburgh. So we'll see what happens there with Shaq. But pulling for him, it's a guy who's made a ton of money. When he signed his deal, it was a 4-year, $69 million deal, a $10.5 million signing bonus. He was guaranteed $36 million. So at signing, so he's made a ton of money, and he's had a really good career. And I don't think he's done, but it'll be somewhere else outside of Buffalo, and he may very well have the luxury of picking a winner, having the luxury of saying, I've made a lot of money, I'm approaching 30, I want to go try to win a championship. What is a spot that might make sense? I mean, Kansas City is a spot that might make sense. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that and what happens with Tre'Davious White and the rest of the Tigers as they move throughout this free agent period. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Saw this as well. Bill Belichick is going to be the keynote speaker at the University of Washington football coaching clinic. Like a lot of schools have a coaching clinic. You bring in speakers. Belichick and his 8 Super Bowl rings are going to be the keynote at the University of Washington football coaches clinic. So a little bit of a flex there by Jed Fish in his first season, his first coaching clinic as the head coach at Washington. But that's not it for Bill Belichick. A lot of reports today that Belichick's being pursued by the networks to be a potential TV landing spot. And one of those also is Peyton Manning's Omaha Productions. Of course, Peyton Manning has his own media production company, and apparently he's pursuing Belichick to do some type of maybe Manning cast or something that may look like that. There's something else that's being floated out there, the possibility of a Saban-Belichick combo GOAT cast is what they would call it. The combo of Saban and Belichick doing a Manning cast style show. I mean, who wouldn't be curious to watch that through the eyes of Bill Belichick and Nick Saban? That would be fascinating. The sort of the downside of hiring Belichick for television would be, in theory, he's a guy that wants to coach again, so are you hiring him just for 1 year? Now, Fox did that with Sean Payton, understanding Sean Payton was going to coach again. It was just a matter of when he got back into it. So they had Sean Payton for 1 year and they moved on. So what will the networks do with Bill Belichick? I don't know. You have the opportunity to get Bill Belichick on your air. Of course you're going to do it. And for Saban, who's already signed a deal with ESPN, does he do ESPN college football and then potentially something like this, a GOAT cast for NFL games with Bill Belichick? He'd be double dipping there and it would make a lot of sense. My really big question, though, is can Bill Belichick be a human on TV? Forever and ever and ever and ever, we've heard Bill Belichick in all these press conferences. And he's a mumbling curmudgeon. This is the Bill Belichick we all know.
What, when Corey Dillon ran for 1,600 yards, would I be against that? Yeah, I don't think so.
He's just not a guy. He's surly and standoffish. Like, give me some more of the Bill Belichick that we know.
Well, we'll find out on Saturday. I could just Xerox you a copy of the game plan. You can send it over to Kansas City if you got. I mean, it might be easier for all of us.
On Saturday, Xerox copy of the game plan over Kansas City. Like, that isn't going to play on television. So I sent Muse on a reconnaissance mission today to search the interwebs, high and low, to find examples of Bill Belichick being a human. Now, Muse, there's one that I told you about. Did you find it?
Not a good enough one to play. It wasn't. I couldn't locate the full press conference of that because I didn't exactly know what year it was. But I found like a couple different. It just wasn't the full thing. The ones I found weren't good, so I didn't do that one.
You didn't find the thing that I asked you to find?
Well, not one that I wanted to play on air of it because it.
Why not?
I just told
bad
you.
audio.
Bad audio. It wasn't a full clip. It wasn't anything really there. Like there wasn't enough context to some of the clips that I found.
So there was a kid that asked Bill Belichick a question one time at a press conference, and he actually appeared very human. That was the thing that I'd asked Muse to find. Okay, what did you find of Bill Belichick being a human?
Well, yeah, okay. So one year in 2017 at the NFL Combine, his former player Willie McGinnis was obviously doing like some sideline work there for NFL Network, and Bill just walked up to the press box and grabbed a headset and started talking with Willie McGinnis. And this is Bill talking about how he's treated in Indianapolis.
Okay.
Trust me, Willie. When I came to Indianapolis, they everything threw stuff at me, yelled at me, and everything else. Then when I went for it on 4th and 1, and we got stopped. Ever since then, it's been, hey, Coach, good to see you. How's it going?
Wasn't that a little jovial?
Yeah.
He told a joke.
Smiles.
Self-deprecating as well.
Yeah.
Of course, that was in that AFC Championship game. That was, by the way, that 4th and 1. That was Kevin Falk that got stopped short on that 4th and 1 in Indy. Anyway, what else do we have?
Well, I mean, you know what else makes a lot of human beings smile? Are babies.
Babies.
And
Yes,
puppies.
puppies
But
and
babies. Don't
yes.
forget dogs.
Babies,
but babies. So Zoom press conferences. Remember those? Well, one reporter was trying to ask a question, and his child was crying in the background.
I can see you're multitasking here. So,
not going real well. You can tell.
yeah, we've all been there.
He laughed.
He laughed. We've all been there.
He sort of disarmed him. Hey, look, don't be embarrassed. I know you're talking to a guy that's won 8 Super Bowls, but it's okay. You're a dad. I'm a dad. We've all been there. The crying kid. We understand it, which we have. We've all been there.
I mean, that's very human.
Not all of us on a Zoom call, but all of us have been there with the crying kid where you want the kid to stop, but you can't make the kid stop, and you wonder if other people are worried. But other people should get it because they're dads too. Look at Bill. Bill can be a guy. He can be a human. We got any more?
Yeah, so
right,
you
this
mentioned
is human Bill Belichick.
You mentioned right off the top there about him being kind of a curmudgeon in press conferences. It wasn't always the case, though.
I feel like we need a music bed here. Is there a music bed about being a human, being a man? I'm a man, I'm a human, I'm a good guy. I don't know.
I don't
What's
know.
a song about being a man, a human, or a good guy? I don't know. Someone text me and let me know if you got a song about being a man, a human, and all-around good person. You're a good person. All right, what else you got?
Yeah, anyway, this one reporter, he told Bill...
You just didn't have enough forethought to do it, so the audience come do it.
He told Bill that he had a 2-part question about running back. He asked the first part, and then, Bill answered it, and then this happened.
Is there another part to that, or was that both parts in there at once?
I didn't think you were going to like it. I didn't want to end it with it.
Well, then we want to end on a high note? No problem. Go on a high note then.
There's a report out that Steven Jackson.
Let's just end on a high note.
I didn't follow that at all.
Okay, well, he asked this question. Bill answers it and goes, well, you said there was a second part. Is there anything? He goes, well, there was, but I don't think you were going to like it. And we were just going to end on the high note. And Bill goes, okay. And he goes, there's a report about Steven Jackson. Bill goes, let's just end on the high note, and walks out of the press conference.
Okay, good. Well, see, you got to ask the question about Steven Jackson. Whatever that question is. Clearly, that's something people want to know. You got to ask it.
So, I mean, he can do it.
Is that all?
That's all that I had.
Okay,
there.
so we got at least 3 examples of Bill Belichick acting like a human over 23 years in New England. How many years in New England? So I think it's 23, 24 years in New England. So we're good for like once every decade or so.
23
years in New England. So roughly every 8 years, you're going to get a human moment from Bill Belichick. But it just goes to show you it's in there. And maybe, just maybe, Bill Belichick can act like a human. Oh, wait, the brain texted me. I bet Brain's got a good idea. I'm only human by human league. Yeah. See, leave it to Brain. Muse. You should have texted Brain.
I didn't think about it.
Yeah. You should have thought about it.
Maybe next time.
Text the Brain. Or we could have done More Human Than Human by Rob Zombie.
See?
No, that wouldn't have been a good one. You don't know that song.
You had one.
You don't. No. Listen to that in the break, and you'll understand why that would not be appropriate. It's after further review.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by LPT Realty. My guy DJ down in Tampa right now at an LPT Realty conference. He told me yesterday 9,700 agents already in year one with LPT Realty. What an incredible number that is. And I really always encourage you as well, make sure you're following Darren on social media, because Darren does a great job using his social media to give you free tips and advice when it comes to buying or selling. Look, he's got a post right now, things to consider when buying a house, the location, the appliance, the reason for the seller. Is it a motivated sell? The age of the house, the layout, lots of different info and tidbits. Always encourage you, follow Darren James on all of his social media. And remember, if you're thinking of buying or selling a home, call Darren James. LPT Realty has changed the game, and Darren's thrilled to be joined up with LPT Realty. If you're a realtor and want to find out more about LPT Realty, call Darren. 335-7666 for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our #1 product is always customer
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
The great Antonio Daniels in 25 minutes from right now. We'll talk some Pels. Big win for Pels just absolutely walloped the Raptors last night in Toronto. We'll get to that with AD here in about 25 minutes from right now. Right now, Musso. Tigers and the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right. So the Bills caught just about everybody today. They might actually only have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs left on this team. One of those cuts, unfortunately, was former LSU Tiger Tre'Davious White. Post June 1 is the designation for Trey White. Per Adam Schefter, the move will save $10.2 million in cap space for Buffalo. Two-time Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro in his career, but played just 10 games the last 2 seasons due to injury, and now will be a free agent. We'll keep you updated on the next landing spot for Tre'Davious White.
That was a bummer.
It is a bummer, man, because he was, before those injuries started, I mean, that's when he was coming off the 2 Pro Bowls, the All-Pros. Like, he was rolling, and that's just, it's very unfortunate. Huge day for Dylan Cruz, which, not surprising at all, but we're going to tell you about it. 2 for 3, a double, his second of the spring, and then this bomb to dead center field off of Jesus Luzardo for the Marlins. 2-run shot. So all in all, 2 for 3, 2 RBI, and 2 runs scored for Dylan Cruz. He's hitting .286 in spring early here for the Nats.
So he's still pretty good?
He's still pretty good.
Still good at baseball.
Still got a great swing. Still catches everything in center field.
Good.
That's what you want to see. Jake Fraley, big day for him. 2 for 2 with a double. He's hitting .385 so far in spring. How about that? Remember, Fraley had that great year last year before he got hurt.
Still the beard.
I haven't seen him yet. I would imagine he does. But they're down in Florida.
We need to change that picture.
Do we think Jake shaved the beard? I hope not. The beard was so good.
Well, I just searched his name on Twitter, X. There's the Escape Podcast. This was March the 1st. And I don't know what the Escape Podcast is, but March 1. Paul, you want to pull this up? There's Fraley.
All right. Beard.
March 1.
It's not as, aggressive
5 days ago
as it has been. It's a little bit more manicured, but it's still good.
Okay.
I like it. He needs to keep that forever, I think. A little G League action to wrap you up here. Double-double for KJ Williams last night for the Oklahoma City Blues. 17 points, 10 boards. Shot just about 50% from the floor. Excuse me. And then Skylar Mays. Big 19-point night in the G League with the South Bay Lakers to go along with 7 boards and 5 assists. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. You know where to find them online or at any of their great locations. Of course, in 3 different states. They have 9 locations, 2 in Baton Rouge. It's Corporate Boulevard in Bocage, the Mall of Louisiana. They've also got New Orleans, Lafayette, Shreveport. They got Mississippi and Texas locations as well. At Lee Michaels, they'll never sell man-made or lab diamonds. If it didn't come from one of the finest diamond mines in the world, it's not going in a case at Lee Michaels. So you never have to worry about what you're buying. This isn't a technology play. These are authentic, real diamonds. Man, every time you go into Lee Michaels, you're blown away by the experience. How you're greeted when you walk in, how they offer you chocolates on a tray, a cold beverage, the interaction you have with their associates. They do a great job of creating a buying atmosphere where you don't feel pressured, but you know you're making an important decision. You know, gentlemen, if you're popping the question, you're making a lifelong decision. You want to buy her a ring that she's going to look at and love forever. Something she's going to be thrilled to pass on to your daughter or future generations. Lee Michaels makes that happen every day, and they've been doing that for 40 years. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com, lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Hey, remember, you can always text the show in the 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400. Cedric Parms said He sent a video on YouTube of it's gonna be loud. Chris Young, The Man I Want to Be. Maybe one we could have used for Belichick.
That's a good song. I've heard that song. That's a good song.
Dean Taylor, Billy Joel, Only Human.
I don't know if I know that one.
Justin Ray has said Hulk Hogan's theme, The Real American. No, and I don't even think that, like he said, it's about taking your vitamins and all that. But that's at the end. When at the end of the song, he's like, say your prayers, brother. Make sure you take your vitamins, say your prayers and all this. Yeah, I don't know that
it's not about being a good human at all. I don't understand.
Wayne said Simple Man. Not a bad thought, but not exactly what I'm going for
Great song,
here. Controversial take. I like Shinedown's version better than Skinner's.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever heard Shinedown's version. I'll have to listen to
that. And Sean Comiskey said, do your job, Muse. Look up the Patriot YouTube video. Hour 3 next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. When Musa goes to buy land to get far away from me, he's gonna go to First South Farm Credit to finance that land. You want to build your dream home? First South Farm Credit. They've been making that happen for over 100 years. If you want to buy land for agriculture, farmland, you need 1,000 acres for your farm. If you want to finance your farm equipment, First South Farm Credit can do that as well. Your first call, remember, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, or you can always go to the website. Start there. FirstSouthLand.com. It's that easy, 3 words. FirstSouthLand.com for First South Farm Credit. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit since 1916. Of course, tell you about the patronage refund as well. Because they are a member-owned cooperative, they share their dividends with their member owners. That's you. It's FirstSouthLand.com.
Power up your next project with John Deere Deals by Sunshine. Whether you're working hard or playing hard, our knowledgeable team will help you find the right product for you. Ask us about our amazing tractor package promotions. Learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me. Like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. A major roster reset and salary cap purge for the Bills. Release safety Jordan Poyer, cornerback Trey White, center Mitch Morse, among others. About $26 million in cap space saved today. Even though quarterback Russell Wilson doesn't officially become a free agent until after his release, once the new league year starts next Wednesday, Denver has given him permission to begin speaking and meeting with other teams in their home cities, reports ESPN's Adam Schefter. Wilson's role at his next stop will be very different. ESPN NFL analyst Louis Riddick.
He's a stopgap starter is what he is right now. Look, he's a mid-level starter. Could he be a top half thrower in terms of QBR, completion percentage above expectation, passer rating? Yeah, he could be a top half, meaning 16 or higher. Yeah, I think he could be. Is he going to still be that guy who is going to be a consistent top 10 thrower in all advanced metrics? No, he's not going to be.
Commanders reached a one-year deal with Zach Ertz, filling a need at tight end. Ahead of the NHL trade deadline, the league-leading Panthers acquired winger Vladdy Tarasenko from Ottawa for a couple of draft picks.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. At Progressive, they're making things even easier. They'll help you bundle your home and car insurance together so you can save on both. Learn more at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Pluckers. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man.
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Toby Tom Blake. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Oh, by the way, it's hump day.
It's hump day.
Antonio Daniels in 15 minutes.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Pels clobbered the Raptors last night.
Hump day.
We'll talk about it with AD.
It's hump day.
LSU hoops against Arkansas in 57 minutes.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Wes Moore was here an hour ago to preview it.
Hump day.
Said Arkansas stinks.
It's hump day.
In everything.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Is that what he said? They stink in basketball?
He did say that.
They stink in football?
He did say that.
It's hump day.
They got good pitching in baseball, but David Orange got to figure out his lineup. So they stink.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
You go back and listen to it online, but basically it was just 12 minutes of Wes Moore saying Arkansas stinks and everything.
Hump day.
That was fun.
It's hump day.
Taylor Calandro is here.
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
Bottom of the hour, Muse is going to get a bunch of trivia questions wrong.
Hump day.
Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks.
It's hump day.
Ooh, rough night for the Otter last night. But you know what, Muse?
Mike. What day is it, Mike?
What's that?
I got it back last night.
Hump day.
How'd you do that?
You know how I did it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
It's hump day.
Live betting NBA overs.
Yeah. I keep forgetting.
I mean, Jimmy lost. I was like, all right, let me break out the NBA. Boom. Kaboom, kaboom, kaboom. 3-0 last night. I know. All right, let's get going here. Glad to have you aboard. Yeah, if you're wondering, so just years ago, my buddy Josh Ennis, who I used to do radio with, put me onto this thing where he would look at international basketball games and he would live bet the over. So he would wait till like the latest possible minute to get in, with 2 minutes or so to go, and he literally won tens of thousands of dollars doing this. It was crazy. And so there's kind of a little bit of a feel and methodology to it, but when you live bet overs, like in the final 2 minutes of the game, you wait for the number to get as low as it can. And this isn't like betting advice or anything like that. I'm just telling you what I do. And I have a lot of success doing it. It's a pretty good hit rate. Field Yates over at ESPN post-combine has put out his top 50 prospects in the NFL draft. He's got Jaden Daniels, number 2. No big surprise. Jaden Daniels, number 2, behind Caleb Williams. It's kind of a consensus a lot of people have now. Marvin Harrison Jr., number 3 on the list. And Malik Neighbors, 1 spot back at number 4. So you got LSU, the quarterback, Jaden Daniels at 2, and Malik Neighbors, the receiver, at number 4. I mean, at this point, we all understand kind of the order that it is for the LSU players. It's just a matter of where they fall on the list. Mel Kiper's probably highest on Brian Thomas. He's got a number 11 overall, is the number 11 overall prospect in the draft. Field Yates has Brian Thomas 18th overall, especially after he ran a 4.33 at the Combine. I mean, you lead the nation in touchdown receptions. You go run 4.33 at the Combine. It's going to get a lot of people's attention. The one that was most interesting to me, and keep in mind this is just ranking, not by position, just ranking the top 50 players in the draft coming out of the Combine. Going into the Combine, I told you there were 2 players that I was looking at. I thought Brian Thomas had the most to lose. And not to say that he wasn't going to perform well, just to say that crowded receiver class, he was a consensus first rounder, but if he didn't perform well at the Combine, he could fall. Not a lot of room to go up because the first 3 guys seem to be locked in. Harrison Jr., Malik Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. Not a lot of room to go up, but you certainly could fall. The case in point is Keon Coleman. Didn't perform well at the Combine. A lot of mock drafts now have him out of round 1. So I said that I thought Thomas had the most to lose potentially. He solidified himself. The guy I thought with the most to gain was Mason Smith. A guy who came into the year as a potential first-round draft pick. Before the Combine, there were some projections that had him as a late day 3 or UDFA. So obviously a guy with that skill, physicality, the measurements, all of that, had a huge opportunity at the Combine to go be the physical freak that he is. He could be a workout warrior and massively increase his draft stock. Well, lo and behold, Field Yates ranks Mason Smith the 50th overall prospect in the entire draft coming out of the Combine. The quick write-up, Smith was on his way to a star career as a true freshman in 2021, but an ACL injury just 7 plays into the 2022 season ended his sophomore year. But he worked his way back into his old self throughout the 2023 season. Did he? The draft is an exercise in projection, and teams will be buying into the physical tools that Smith brings to the table. Consider that he ran a 5.01 in the 40 at 306 pounds. Again, huge for Mason Smith to go and measure the way he was going to measure and to show off his athleticism at that size, something we all know Mason Smith has. So clearly, in the eyes of at least Field Yates and many others, he made the most of it. Yates also ranked and graded every player by position, right? So the top 5 by position in this draft. And when he looked at the top 5 defensive tackles in the draft, Byron Murphy of Texas, Jerzon Newton of Illinois, Braden Fisk of Florida State, Mason Smith of LSU. Field Yates says Mason Smith is the 4th best defensive tackle in the entire draft. You don't think Mason Smith made the most of his time there in Indy? So, for what it's worth, Field Yates says Mason Smith is the 4th best defensive tackle in this draft. Do you know who was the 4th defensive tackle drafted a year ago? Yes, I'm leading you here. Do you know who was the 4th defensive tackle drafted a year ago? Muse, Paulie, want to take a guess? Who was the 4th defensive tackle drafted a year ago? Yes, I'm leading you.
Brian Brzee.
It was Brian Brzee at 29 overall. Now, I'm not suggesting that Mason Smith is going to be a first-round pick. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think what he did at the Combine was certainly pushed himself into a day 2 pick. Now, maybe that's round 3. But somebody is going to fall in love with the athlete. Somebody is going to fall in love with the upside with Mason Smith. Because the reality is, God didn't make a whole lot of human beings that are 6'5", 306, that run a 5'0", 140. It's what happened with Al Woods years ago. It's the same situation. Al Woods came to LSU. He was a 5-star. The production wasn't there at LSU. The Saints drafted him around 4, cut him, but Al Woods found a way to make a roster. Then 13 years later, you look up, he's still in the league. Because God didn't make too many dudes built like that with that level of athleticism. And when the light bulb comes on, when you coach the player up, you have a potential kaboom. By the way, also, just as an FYI, if let's just say hypothetically Field Yates's list holds and Smith is the 50th player taken in the draft, right? They have him as the number 50 overall prospect. The 50th player a year ago was Jaden Reed, a wide receiver out of Michigan State who went to Green Bay. He signed a 4-year, $7.1 million contract, middle of round 2. I think middle of round 2 is probably Mason Smith's ceiling in this draft, but I think he solidified himself as a day 2 pick. The weird thing about Mason Smith is this. If I told you, hey, 10 years from now, Mason Smith is going to be a dominant, perennial all-pro interior defensive lineman in the NFL, would you believe it? Would you believe that's possible? I would. I'd say 6'5", 306 pounds. He was a 5-star. Mike Detillier says he's the most athletic big man ever to come out of the Bayou region. Like we saw it as a freshman. We saw it before his ACL injury. Like I could absolutely believe that Mason Smith can figure it out, get coached up, and become a perennial Pro Bowl type player in the NFL over the next decade. On the flip side, what if I told you Mason Smith is a day 3 pick, struggles, becomes a practice squad guy, and doesn't get to a second contract? Would you believe that? I believe that's plausible. I think there is extreme boom potential for Mason Smith, and I don't want to say bust, but because I think you'd have to have certain expectations going in. But he has feast or famine potential is a better way to put it. And I'm pulling for him. I hope he does awesome. I mean, I hope he goes to the NFL and crushes it. But I think there's going to be a team that is really convicted on the athlete, and they take him in day 2. Maybe it'll be the Saints in round 3 if he's hanging around. We'll see. Okay, it's After Further Review. Hump Day Show is brought to you by Pluckers. Remember, they got the new Breggy Creole sauce over at Pluckers. That's Alex Bregman wing flavor. So go check it out at either Pluckers location, Nicholson or Bluebonnet. Well, now I got a quick break. Antonio Daniels talking Zapels next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. You know where they are. Seagan near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Don Moore, Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. And this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you'll find Clegg's at the LSU Ag Center Spring Garden Show. It's at Parker Coliseum on the LSU campus. Again, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Clegg's will be there represented with booths at the LSU Ag Center Spring Garden Show. So if you're going to be at the LSU Ag Center Spring Garden Show, make sure you look for the Clegg's Nursery booths this weekend. And, of course, you can always see them at any of their 4 retail locations this coming weekend. Spring is springing. I was leaving the house this morning. I noticed lawn is really greening up. I mean, you could tell the weather's getting warmer, the moisture in the air as well. Spring is here. It's time to get by Clegg's. It's time to just plant something. Get by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations. Full greenhouses. Buy local, shop local. Tell them Matt sent you to Clegg's Nursery.
Value Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $17,500 off new 23 1500 Bighorn trucks. We're open for business in our beautiful new showroom and taking $17,500 off new Ram 1500 trucks. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. For years, you've heard me tell you about Insurance Network of Louisiana, helping you find better coverage for less money. But it's not just for your home and auto. They also offer commercial property. So, retail stores, professional offices like doctors, dentists, attorneys, clothing boutiques. Insurance Network of Louisiana can find you better coverage for less money. They service the entire state of Louisiana, and they're local. So call today at 293-0450 or lainsurance.net.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I love the fact that we had 27 fast break points. We shot the 3-ball well, and just collectively as a team, our game plan discipline tonight was extremely high, and we want to, every game, give ourselves a chance to win it, and it's special when you can go out on the road and win games. It lets you know you have an opportunity to be in a really good team.
And understandably pleased Willie Green after the Pels beat the Raptors 139-98. That actually isn't even appropriate for me to say they beat the Raptors. That was the worst home loss in franchise history for the Toronto Raptors last night. Incredible. Antonio Daniels was there on the call with Joel Myers. AD, we appreciate the time, man. How are you?
Awesome, Matt. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing really well. In a game like that where there's so many superlatives, let me start by asking you what stands out the most. Where should the conversation start from last night?
Oh, man. I don't know. I don't know where the conversation should start. I don't know if it should start individually or collectively. When you're on a 3-game road trip, East Coast road trip, and you're playing teams that are undermanned, the most important thing is taking care of business. You know, you're playing a Toronto team without Scotty Barnes. You're playing a Philly team without Joel Embiid. You're playing an Atlanta team without Trae Young. So I think your mindset and just the way that you can gain ground by going 3-0 on this road trip, like every game carries an incredible amount of significance. And just the fact that they win in, like you just said, Matt, that's just the worst loss in Toronto Raptors franchise history. Like, that says a lot about the focus of this team.
Go back to mindset for a second there. And I don't always like to ask a lot of abstract questions, but you played the game obviously for a long time, so I can ask you this, and I think it's appropriate. What is it like, AD, mental? I think that's what you're getting at there, is like, if you know they don't have Scotty Barnes, or you're playing Phil and you know they don't have Embiid.
It's hard.
It's like a letdown?
Yeah, like it's hard. Like yesterday, my key to the game was human nature. Because what human nature tells you is like, you know what, I don't have to be at my best, or we don't have to be at our best if we can still win. And then next thing you know, it's 2 minutes to go in the game and the score's tied. So I think that the thing that you're fighting more than anything else is human nature. Like you hear it all the time. Basketball is not played on paper. It's not. Like you have to actually go out between the four lines and actually beat an underman team. And they did that yesterday. And for me, the mindset started back in Indiana, though. When we got to Indiana at 6 o'clock in the morning because our plane was messed up, and on a back-to-back after beating Nick and B.I. and Zion and Trey and TJ were all made available, I think that speaks to how important the rest of the season is and the mindset that guys have now, as opposed to maybe in November or in October or in December. It's go time.
Man, they're leading the division right now by 3 games. I know the talking heads necessarily don't mean a lot, but it was interesting. You know, Big Perk today on Pat McAfee show said the Pels were his West sleeper team.
Dark horse.
Do you what is possible for this team, AD?
I don't know. If we're talking whole and healthy, the sky's the limit. And you know why, though? And for me, it's not really just about the Pelicans. It's about the rest of the Western Conference. It's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. Like Denver right now, they're a good team, obviously. They're the reigning NBA champions, but they're not who they were last year either, right? They don't have Bruce Brown coming off the bench. They don't have Jeff Green coming off the bench. They don't have the depth and versatility that they had last year. So there are so many teams that have questions. Phoenix hasn't been healthy all year. Bradley Beal's been out, or Devin Booker's been out. You know, they made a lot of changes. So you can go to Oklahoma City, young team. We know young teams don't win in the postseason. Minnesota, younger team. We know young teams don't win in the postseason. So the thing that kind of stands out to me is the fact that the Western Conference is so open. Like it's actually like that's what's intriguing for me. It's not, you know, the Golden State Warriors and they have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant and those guys. You know, right now the West is so open, and it's for the taking for the team that peaks at the right time of the season.
Antonio Daniels is with us. Team's in Philly right now. By the way, do me a favor and flick Todd Graffinini in the back of his ear. Just reach ahead and see it. And just
he's literally sitting in the seat right in front of me. I just did. He's literally sitting. He's sitting in the seat right in front of me.
He just texted me in the middle of the interview saying, "I'm literally sitting one row ahead of AD while he's doing this interview."
Yeah,
so yes, please just flick him on the back of the ear. Tell him Tulane stinks or whatever you need to. That would be great. Antonio Daniels with us here. Good enough to join us on as the team has landed in Philly, heading to the hotel. Let me ask you about Trey. A career best last night with 10 threes. His emergence, I'm going to ask a very obvious question, but I'm hoping you could just take it and elaborate. How important has his growth and emergence as a player been for this team this year?
He's a difference maker. Like, he really is a difference maker. And I don't even know how to put it into words. Because when he is playing like that, he gives this team another star power player. Like, when you start getting into the postseason, the game slows down. It becomes more about half-court execution. Teams are really good at scheming and taking away whatever it is that you do well. So you know what they're going to do. They're going to try at all costs. They're going to sell out for Zion. They're going to build a wall against Zion. They're going to build a wall against Brandon Ingram. So you have to surround those guys with shooting. So that's where the emergence of Trey and the emergence of Herb Jones, who was on the cusp of a 50, 40, 90 season, that's why they're so important. You know, we spend so much time talking about stars and how important stars are. But the thing is, stars can't be stars without role players that are willing to embrace their role. You know, Trey Murphy's ability to stretch the floor, not to the three-point line, but 4 or 5 feet beyond the three-point line, it becomes a pick-your-poison offense. You're going to give something up. You're going to give Zion a driving angle. You're going to give B.I. a driving angle. Or you're going to build a wall and give these guys wide-open three-point shots.
AD, there's 20 games to go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if as a player you would have ever talked about this or if coaches ever talk about it, but do you ever discuss math? Like, okay, with 20 to go at 37 and 25, what does your record need to be in the next 20 to solidify yourself a top 6, something like that? Like, is that a conversation that happens?
No, because you don't know. You have no idea. Like, I mean, you would love to say you go 13-7 in these last 20 games, and that gets you to 50 wins. But again, the Western Conference is so incredibly deep that what does 50 wins guarantee you? Right now, it doesn't guarantee you anything because no one knows. We don't know what the Lakers are going to do. We don't know what Golden State's going to do. We don't know what Sacramento is going to do. We don't know what Dallas is going to do. And those are the 4 teams that are in the play-in tournament right now. So the thing is, you have to control the controllable. And I know it sounds so cliche-ish, but you really do have to take it one game at a time. Like, you don't want to start looking ahead the next week when you have Cleveland and the Clippers and, Portland on the back-to-back. Like, that's for us to do as analysts. Mm-hmm. But as players, you have to take, it's about winning the games you're supposed to win against sub-500 teams and teams that are undermanned. It's about taking care of those wins.
Team obviously has a couple of days off before the next one, the one game at a time, is Philly coming up in a couple of days. If you would, before you go, maybe a thumbnail on that game and how it looks with Philly not having Joel Embiid.
What's weird is I don't think we know yet because Therese Maxey, right, who to me is probably the league's most improved player this year, he went home on the trip with the concussion protocol. So now, obviously, he makes a difference. If they have him, they have a more legitimate chance. But the thing that Philly's good at right now, they beat you with balance, right? Even with no Joel Embiid, right? It's not just Therese Maxey, right? They have Tobias Harris, who's one of the most underrated players in the league. They have Kyle Lowry, right? An NBA vet. They have Kelly Oubre coming off the bench. Paul Reed done a fantastic job filling in for Joel Embiid. So it's not like it's Joel Embiid or bust. And with all due respect to the Toronto Raptors, the Philadelphia 76ers without Joel Embiid have a much more talented roster than the Toronto Raptors do. So this is not one of those games where you can come in and think, you know what, let's just show up and do what we get against Toronto. No, they have seasoned vets that have been in this position, that have been in this situation before.
The one and only Antonio Daniels. AD, you're the best, man, especially on the bus. We appreciate you for taking a couple of minutes to join us, man. Thank you as always. Safe travels.
For sure, man. Anytime, brother.
I mean, be well. It's after further review. You know what he said? Like, if you go, think of it this way. And I love the perspective that AD has. Like, I think people realize, like, how lucky we are. I mean, if you do get to watch the games on Bally, I mean, Joel and AD are awesome. And then if you're listening on radio and you get Graf and JD, we're really lucky. Like, if you're a fan of the team, if you're a fan of the team and you watch or listen to the games, you're just really lucky because we do have great broadcasters and analysts that call the game. I'm not just saying that because he was on. If you watch the games, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, like, Joel was the Lakers play-by-play guy in the Shaq Kobe days. I mean, we're really lucky. Anyway, what AD just said there was, if you go 13-7 the rest of the way and you finish with 50 wins, are you guaranteed anything? And he said no. And he's right. You're not. I mean, because you don't know what the rest of the league is going to do or how it's all going to shake out. But consider this. A year ago, and remember the goal here, I shouldn't say the goal, but because you love to do better than this, but a year ago, the goal is getting the top 6, right? The top 6, you avoid the play-in. You're in the postseason. You want to be in the top 6. And right now the Pelicans are in the 5. They're the 5. They're 37-25. They're a game ahead of Phoenix, which is in the 6. And what we talk about so much, though, is how much parity there is right there in that little cluster, because while the Pels are 37-25, the Kings, Mavs, and Lakers are all sitting there with 34 wins. Now, the variance is their loss column. The Kings have lost 26, but the Mavs have lost 28, and the Lakers have lost 29. But the point is, like, as far as the win column, they're all sitting there at 34 wins, 3 behind New Orleans. Anyway, so yes, you could go on a losing streak and find yourself in the 8th seed in a blink. So yes, I understand his point, but 50 wins. You go 13-7, you get to 50 wins. Awesome. A year ago, Golden State was the 6th seed at 44-38. 44 wins got Golden State the 6th seed a year ago. Everything isn't equivalent year to year, I understand, but 50 wins a year ago would have put you as the 3 seed in the West. So it's easy, I think, sometimes when you're programmed to think about how things have gone wrong with injuries and skids and things like that, and you look behind you, like to say, man, who's coming up on me? Instead of saying, who's ahead of me and who am I gunning for? Instead of who's coming after me and looking back, to say, who am I going to get next? Forget Sacramento and Dallas and the Lakers. Can I get the Clippers and Denver and OKC and Minnesota, the teams ahead of me? And it's plausible. Just like there's 4 teams behind you, 3 of them with 34 wins. You're 3 wins away. You're 2 wins away from the Clippers from being in the 4th seed. You're 5 games behind Denver. I mean, which is in the 3 seed. You're 5.5 games behind OKC. I mean, it's doable. You heard AD read off the schedule. I mean, you're going to play Philly without Embiid. You're going to play Atlanta without Trae Young. You get Cleveland, the Clippers, and the Blazers at home. I mean, then you got road trips to Nets, Magic, Heat, Pistons. You got a lot of winnable games ahead, man. Like, it is there to surge over the next 3 weeks. So it's exciting to look at it, man. Yes, there's always the possibility that they could stumble. But, man, it's also exciting to think about what could be. All right, it's After Further Review. Thanks to AD. We're brought to you by Evermore. Been my pleasure to be able to start to introduce so many of you to Evermore Natural Artesian Water. This is a Louisiana company. It's incredible. I went to their plant last Thursday on the North Shore. Amazing to see it. I mean, you drive up and you pass, as you turn onto their property, you pass the well on your left. And it's the well where they've drilled deep into the earth's surface to hit this natural spring where they pipe the water out and it never touches air until you uncap your bottle. Listen, if you are someone who values a healthier lifestyle, Evermore, you may think water is water is water, right? I get it out of my tap, it's fine. I would challenge you. And some of you, that's fine. That's just all you're ever going to do is drink tap water. That's fine. But I would challenge you. Grab a bottle of Evermore and drink it side by side with your tap water. Grab a bottle of Evermore and drink it side by side with another bottle of water, with the little flimsy plastic that you sometimes buy because you think, well, it's in a bottle, it's fine. You want a healthier lifestyle? Maybe you're an athlete, either a high-level athlete or you're a weekend warrior. You want a better source of hydration? Evermore. EVAMOR. Maybe, you want to give a healthier option to your children. Evermore. Go to Rouse's, go to any of the great local retailers and pick up a 12-pack of 20, a 20-ounce bottles. This is the 20-ounce bottle that I'm holding, 12-pack of 20. They got the big 64-ounce bottles as well. Check it out. It's Evermore. EVAMOR. Great tasting, natural water. Evermore. EVAMOR. Check them out, evermore.com. All right, it's After Further Review. I needed a sip. It's After Further Review. Well, now I got a break. Remember, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand, presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. We'll come back, and Muse will get a bunch of trivia questions wrong. Stay here. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. The Watermark downtown, we tell you about the Watermark all the time. Louisiana's original, Baton Rouge's original high-rise building in downtown Baton Rouge. It is gorgeous, as the Watermark has maintained so much of their history in that building. It's the Watermark Hotel. Not only a great place to stay or have your event, but the Watermark Hotel, also a great spot to go have dinner there at the Gregory. And they have also, aside from the Gregory, they have Milford's on 3rd, which is a great sort of sandwich shop, a little more casual, which has access to 3rd Street in downtown Baton Rouge. It's the Watermark Hotel. And remember, of course, the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet. The Watermark and the Renaissance, 2 amazing hotel properties with one ownership group. The Renaissance Hotel, I love evenings at the Renaissance. Been telling you about all these fantastic events. The next one is tomorrow. It's the charcuterie culinary class. Get your ticket today. It's at the Renaissance Hotel.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play. with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Yo, Jake here from my friends over at Community Steel Company located in Gonzales, Louisiana. The local place you can turn to for all of your metal building needs. Notice I said local, not Houston, not Dallas, not Atlanta, but right here in Gonzales. Visit them at their brand new state-of-the-art website at communitysteelco.com or pick up the phone and give them a call today to answer all of your questions on your metal buildings, roofing and sheet metal, and any other steel needs you or your business need at 225-647-2020.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 988.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Shout out to Brad Dahrensberg. Last hour we were talking about Bill Belichick being courted by some of the networks and could he actually be a normal human being and be good on TV? And we played some examples of where he's been funny and engaging or whatever. Brad Dahrensberg mentioned this, and he's right. Last year, the Army-Navy broadcast for College Game Day.
Oh, man, that's a good point.
He was on set, and he coached with... Did he coach with Corso or Corso's dad? Or did Corso coach with Belichick's dad? Was that it?
I think, yeah,
it was
definitely
like
Corso's dad that he coached with.
It was... look up and see... You do that. Look up and see that connection there. I think Corso coached with Belichick's dad at Navy. I think that was the tie-in. His his father was an assistant football coach at the Naval Academy. There it was. So Belichick was raised in Annapolis. So that was the tie.
Okay,
so
yes.
Corso coached with Belichick's dad, and so they told story, and that was very engaging.
It was good.
It was very good. So that's another good point. Shout out to Brad Dahrensberg. Okay, it's after further review. Of course, today is Hump Day. Our Hump Day shows, as always, are brought to you by Pluckers. We're thrilled to tell you that Pluckers has a new wing sauce. It's Breggie's Creole Crush. It's a collab with Alex Bregman's Breggie Bomb sauce and rub, and it tastes like a home run. Says it right there on the flyer. Tastes like a home run. So anyway, when you go to Pluckers, try the Breggie's Creole Crush wing sauce. I may do that for dinner tonight. All right, Muse, let's get some trivia questions wrong.
It's time for Pluckers Trivia. How many will Musso get wrong today? Pluckers Trivia.
All right,
every Wednesday night, 7:30 at Bluebonnet, 8 o'clock at Nicholson.
This is a movie trivia theme.
All right.
And I would have gotten all three of these.
It's easy to say.
No, I would have. However, I think it's a generational thing where all three of these fit very much into my wheelhouse. And as we've determined, there like the gap between you and me, the decade or so, creates some of these
just enough. Like
inconsistencies.
it's just enough of
so
a length
this
of
might
time.
be in the hole where it just ain't gonna happen for you.
All right, let's see.
But I wouldn't be surprised if you got any of them.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't be surprised if you miss all of them.
You also know my taste in movies pretty well. I feel like.
I don't know. Well, I know your taste in comedy.
That's true. Okay, that's fair. Yes.
But like one of these is from the same year of one of the comedies you laugh about all the time.
Okay.
One of these is the same year as Big Daddy, which I'm not mistaken is 1999.
That sounds correct,
so,
yes.
So I don't know. I don't know. Let's try it. Okay. Nominated 4 times and winning once. Who is the most nominated actor of the 1990s for films such as Nixon and Amistad?
Oh, wow. I've never seen either of those movies.
See, that's
yeah. So
that's
I don't even have a.
See, this is my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Of the 90s. Ah, man. Tom Cruise? I have no idea.
No. He also played Hannibal Lecter. See. Yeah, this Anthony Hopkins was the answer. Anthony Hopkins. So that's why we're gonna have a problem. We're gonna have a problem.
Looks like we are.
We're in that zone. All right. What 1999 rom-com starred Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant?
Oh, wait. Is that Runaway Bride? Runaway Bride? Or no, is that Richard Gere with her in that one too?
It is not Runaway Bride. It's Notting Hill.
Yeah.
Notting Hill. Again, another movie with a younger sister and a mom I've seen a bajillion times, right? Because you walk in the den and then it's on.
Yeah.
You sit and you stay and you hang out a while and whatever. Okay.
I feel like my guesses have been pretty good, though. I'm not going to lie. They've been wrong, but sometimes I'm way out in left field.
Now, guessing Tom Cruise on Nixon and Amistad was just bad.
Well, I've never seen the movie.
Well,
I just thought of a famous
you weren't
actor
close.
in the 90s.
It was an old European actor, Anthony Hopkins, not a then young American actor, Tom Cruise. That wasn't close enough.
He was popular in the 90s, though.
You did name a rom-com with Julia Roberts.
Yeah, it was just with Richard Gere.
But then again, you could name like any rom-com, any Julia Roberts movie, and it's basically a rom-com. Except for the one where Aaron, what am I thinking of? Where's she?
Oh, Aaron Brockovich. Aaron Brockovich.
Yeah. Okay, last one. You ready?
Weird movie. Yeah, continue.
All right, here we go. Name the action movie from the one-liner, I ain't got time to bleed. You don't know.
Rambo?
No. Predator would have been the answer. Predator.
Yeah.
Muse goes 0 for 3.
You nailed it, though. I mean, you thought I'd struggle there.
I didn't, actually. I said I wouldn't be surprised if you got them all, and I wouldn't be surprised if you missed them all. That was going to go one way or the other, right? Because you have that gap. It's just like, do you know the pop culture references from the 90s? If you do, that was a pretty easy round. But if you don't know the pop culture references, like if we had a similar round like that from the 80s or the 70s, I'd have stunk.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten any of them. So anyway, if you want to restore, Muse, your honor, Pure Restoration can help. You want to restore my and all of our confidence in you, Pure Restoration can help. Not really, because what they do is they kill mold. If you've got a moldy brain on movie trivia. Is this working at all?
No, pivot.
Well, think about it this way. What I'm doing at least is memorable, right? If you want to get rid of the odor emanating from your awful guesses on trivia, Pure Restoration can help. Pure-restoration.com. Yeah?
No, it's no. Mm-mm.
Do you know what company I'm talking about?
I mean, I do. But...
See? It's kind of like the Barbie girl thing, Muse. Huh? Tell me it didn't work.
No, it worked.
Kind of like the she thinks my tractor's sexy thing. Tell me that ain't working.
It's working.
It's working. You know what I mean? I know how to dig into the deep recesses of people's brains, Muse. So, if you have mold that is dug into the deep recesses of your walls and you want to get rid of it, how about that one? Oh, that one.
I liked that one.
Okay.
That one, yeah, that was good.
Pure Restoration can help. Pure-restoration.com. Pure-restoration.com. Okay. Or just message me and go, Scone, what's the mold thing? Like that, you'd probably be surprised how often that happens. Scone, what's the mold thing you talk about? Get messages like that all the time. I just screenshot it and I send it. I send them the website, and then I just screenshot it and send it to the owners at Pure Restoration. I'm like, hey, expect a call from this guy. Anyway, all right, it's After Further Review. Thank you for being here with us. We always appreciate Pluckers for being our title sponsor on Wednesdays. I am excited to try the new Breggy Creole wing, the Breggy Creole wing sauce over at Pluckers. I literally might do that tonight for dinner. Okay, it's After Further Review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Otter will be here for a little Otter Locks to wrap up next.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Hey, by the way, the newest or renewest member of the Gordon McKernan G team is LSU baseball player Gavin Guidry. Of course, was a member of the G team a year ago and has re-upped with the G team, and we're excited for that. Gavin Guidry, of course, recorded the final out of LSU's World Series win over Florida a year ago. A local Louisiana guy, and now back with the G team for another year. Gordon, Gavin Gordon, get it, whatever. He was in studio with us last year. Got to talk some baseball with Gavin, and we'll hopefully get a chance to do that again soon. But of course, when it comes to Gordon McKernan, you've been injured in an accident. It's not your fault. Do what injured people in our state have done for more than 30 years. Go to getgordon.com. That's getgordon.com, or just call 888-8888. That's 888-8888 for Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Jerry and Benny Payne began Central Plumbing Company out of their driveway in Tanglewood Subdivision. 50 years later and 4 generations down the road, we continue to serve Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Residential, commercial, industrial, or hospitality, Central Plumbing is here 24/7, 365.
We want to thank our customers, family, and friends for 50 years of success.
And looking forward to 50 more.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Plucker's Wing Bar, open till midnight or later every night of the week, where every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. Plucker's Wing Bar. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. One thing left to do, find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks. Presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Outfather himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Good, Matt. Trying to rebound, man. That was the worst night of the calendar year last night.
Well, it happens.
Yes.
You bet long enough, you know one of those is going to come. So let's get back on the horse. What we got today?
All right, let's get, first of all, Tennessee. Going to South Carolina, revenge game here. We haven't been playing a whole lot of road chalk, but we're going to get good with the balls here. They were really sloppy the first time when they lost at home. Give South Carolina credit, and they really mucked it up and slowed down the tempo. But we're going with Tennessee. It's 5.5, 5-5.
So Tennessee laying 5. Okay.
All right, Houston just clinched Big 12 championship, number 1 seed, number 1 Ken Palm, number 1 NT, the whole shebang. And they go to Orlando to take on Central Florida. Need too many points in this one. We'll take the Golden Knights at home in Orlando, plus a 9.
Okay, I'm looking at 8.5, so we're going to buy that to 9 with UCF.
Okay.
All right, UCF plus 9?
Florida Atlantic. We looked it up today, like 3-14, something like that, right? In conference play. Got a sleepy little trip here to Denton, Texas, on the road, North Texas, catching 2.5, buy it to plus 3.
All right. UNT plus 3. Okay.
My favorite pick of the night is Iowa State. Iowa State, and it's a revenge game. And when the stronger team, the team with the higher power rating, is at home, favored in a revenge spot. So they've hit their last 7 in a row. It's like 70% ATS this year. This applies. BYU is really drastic home and away. Iowa State is undefeated at home. One of the best home court advantages in a revenge spot. Best bet tonight. Cyclone in Iowa State.
Iowa State laying 7?
Yes.
Okay. Iowa State laying 7. All right.
And then total. One total.
Okay.
Defense is optional in Kentucky this year. This one went over easily the first time. Kentucky and Vandy over again.
All right, that total I'm looking at 161.5. We're not buying that half point, right?
No.
Okay. All right, so Kentucky and Vandy over. I'm looking at 161.5 is the total there with Kentucky and Vandy. All right, so we got a 5-pack there. Tennessee laying the 5. Central Florida plus 9. North Texas plus 3. Iowa State laying the 7 at home. Best bet of the night. And Kentucky Vandy over 161.5. All right. Tomorrow, Thursday.
Tell Haldane, roaming the halls, trashing me last night. Just look, let him know. I'll get the Gucci on him now.
Wait, your phone broke up. You'll do what?
If kids call Colucci the Gucci, I said, I'll get the Gucci on him. You bet the Gucci out.
Hopefully we have some plays from the Gucci tomorrow. All right, Otter, have a great show. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right, be well. Otter and Hanny are downtown tomorrow. at Jolie Pearl Town Square Pizza. Great spot. If you're in downtown Baton Rouge, go check out the guys. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, southpointvw.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at southpointvw.com. Told you yesterday, my buddy Brad Bove over at South Point texted me and sent me the March specials. Oh, my goodness, the incentives. 0% for 60 months on Tiguan's. It's 5 years. 0% for 60 months on the Tiguan. That's the compact SUV. You want a great, maybe like first vehicle for your high school student who you're a little nervous about them driving. You want them something in fun, stylish, affordable, but safe? Check it out, the Tiguan. Also 1.9% for 60 months on Atlas and Crossport, or $3,000 cash back. Great deals always over at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction? All right, it's going to do it for us here. LSU Hoops tipping off in 5 minutes. Baseball first pitch in 5 minutes. We'll be back tomorrow to recap all of it. Muse, Paulie, y'all have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play.